Man, I just just realized something. I did not send the tweet out. This is how you know we are. We even just missing 1 week can make us super rusty. Let me get some of this stuff sorted. But this is DPS podcast. This is Damage Per Second podcast, episode 240. I will be sending a tweet out that I forgot to send. Glad to see some of y'all in here regardless. And that person you just heard is our co-host, Gaming Forte. Say what's up, Forte.
What up, though? What up, guys? How you guys doing? Great. Hope you had a great week. I had a great week. This week has been phenomenal for me. Absolutely.
Why has the week been so good to you?
Let's see. Well, I beat Hollow Knight on my Switch 2, the first one. Then I got an announcement with a release date for Hollow Knight for Silk Song this week. So September 4th, I didn't expect it to be that fast, but guess what? I'm glad I'm through the first one, so we ready to go.
Okay. I haven't even started it yet, but we're gonna get to that.
Yeah, we got to get to that.
I'm gonna get to it.
Eventually, you're gonna get to it. Probably not before the second one comes out, but we'll once baby steps, one step at a time. And then go ahead.
When is the second one coming out?
September 4th.
Oh, I'm definitely
so basically basically 2 weeks. A lot of people thought they had more time.
I thought I had more time. I thought it was going to be like October, November, or something like that. Man, was I wrong. Okay. So yeah, I probably won't get to it by then. But still, I already got Hollow Knight. I'm gonna get to it eventually.
Yeah, you'll get to it. But and then my daughter did their first performance at the baseball game where they played the national anthem. That was great watching that. It was slow-mo. It was hot as heck out there, bro. Like every day but Sunday, because it was on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, it was Sunday. Every day, Saturday, 73 degrees. Nice breeze. Beautiful. Monday, 72 degrees. Nice breeze. Beautiful outside, like perfect, northern weather. Not too hot, not too cold. You can wear a hoodie, you can wear shorts, you can wear a jacket if you can wear like a hoodie, anything like that. Man, Sunday, it was like 88 degrees with ridiculous humidity. And I was out, dog. We was out there sweating, sitting down. It was horrible. But it was still a really, really good experience. But and then one of the topics we're going to talk about, I love being right, just like you, SloMo. You love being right too. Ain't no reason to get mad and cuss out one console for doing something that all of them going to end up doing at some point. But we'll get into that too. So it's just been really interesting. It's been really interesting just looking at Twitter, watching people's videos and talking about stuff that, we all knew was going to happen 6 months ago or 4 months ago when Microsoft did it and Nintendo jumped out the window. So it's just been a really, really cool, week to be one of those people that, go off of trends and facts. You know what that's like, SloMo? When you go off of factual information and stuff that is going to happen because things are coming down the pipeline that everybody knows, and ain't nobody gonna escape the hammer of the terrorists. so we all do, but that's it. That's it.
You gotta have your fake outrage. You gotta have your
it.
Oh my!
My gosh!
How could Sony do this? Like, bro,
what?
Did you just wake up out of a coma for like 5 years or something? Like, did you not see what's been going on all year long? Like if you really thought Sony wasn't going to do this, I don't know what to tell you. It was coming eventually, man. Like, and I think some people remember like 90 days ago.
Well, you know what? No, because you're about to get into it. We got that as a rapid. We'll just get to it when we get to it.
Right. You're right. So let me say this. So you talked about, IRL stuff. Let me talk about some IRL stuff. So remember how I told you on Monday I was supposed to go to the Commanders game?
Mm-hmm.
So about that, I'm all prepared, man. My son's all prepared. He got his Commander jersey on, you know, like which is like he's not even a football fan, so he's getting somewhat excited, you know.
Whose jersey you buy
he's
him?
a teenager. He had a
don't say he had a JD5 jersey.
Terry McLaurin.
Oh, he had a Terry McLaurin. That's what I'm talking about. His scary Terry jersey.
Hold on, why not a JD5?
No, because no. There's nothing wrong with Jedi 5 jerseys. That's just an easy one. It's like he just got there, you know. So I always, and it's your kid,
though, man.
No, it is the franchise. No, that's the new hotness. But hearing your son wearing a Scary Jerry McLaurin jersey warms my heart. Warms my heart because you know what? Until JD5.
Yeah, like quiet. I was just like, I'm waiting in anticipation. What? Go ahead. Forte? Did we lose you? Oh man, I don't think we're ever going to hear how it warms his heart. Maybe Forte's getting his mic together. He was having some issues with his mixer before we got started. Mic check, Forte, you good? Nope. All right, well look, while Forte's getting himself together, I'm gonna tell this story. So, you know, it's still in NFL right now, it's preseason. So I was supposedly trying to take my son to a football game. He hasn't been to a football game before. So I wanted him to get that experience, something that, you know, he'll never forget. But then I wasn't quite certain if he would actually like really care, because he's not like much of a sports fan. So I didn't want to, like, you know, this is me hedging, you know, I'm not trying to take him to like a regular season game. And full disclosure, I am at this stage of my life, I'm old. I don't care about going to a game like that. I don't care about tailgating. I don't care about being there live. I don't want to like catch a field goal, you know, like, you know, sometimes the field goal goes left, you know, and it goes up in the stands. I'm not trying to, you know, get a game ball and then like that. I don't care to be yelling at the visiting team from the stands. I'm not doing none of that stuff. Or other fans, by the way. I like to be in the comfort of my own home.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I like to be in the comfort of my own home. I like to be able to pause the game, and because the wife needs me to do something, or the kids need me to do something, and I need to go and handle some things, and then just come back and just fast forward, watch it, but then fast forward through the dead times and the commercials. Like I like to be able to stop it and go, I need to take a leak, or maybe something more involved than that, right? And know that the game, I ain't missing nothing. And I don't have to use the bathroom that 5 million people used with potentially 5 million different STDs all over the toilet. Like, I don't have to worry about none of that stuff. So I really don't care about going to see a game in person. But I remember going to see games. I remember my uncle and another time my cousin taking me to games, and I have those experiences burned in my memory. Maybe because I'm a football fan, but regardless, I felt like, you know, my son should want to go. Now my middle son didn't want to go, then he changed his mind. Fine, but we were supposed to be going on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, I got some issues with SeatGeek here, man. So SeatGeek was supposed to be emailing the tickets to the person I got the tickets from, their account, on the day of, this was in an email with the confirmation that the tickets are ready to get from the SeatGeek app. Is it SeatGeek? Sorry, StubHub. Because I need to make sure that my criticism is going to the correct company, StubHub. And so I'm waiting, and I already knew ahead of time that like it was supposed to be available that day, and I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm like, I'm hitting up like the person I'm getting the tickets from. I'm like, yo, you already paid the money. I'm like, what's good? And they like, yo, I ain't got no email. I'm like, hey, look, man, don't mess with me, cause you got my money. So you had the tickets. Don't give me this bull jive that like you ain't got the tickets yet. Because if I see you in the stadium, it's gonna be a chitty bang bang situation, right? So like, I'm like, look, what's going on? So long story short, StubHub never emailed this person the email. They checked their account. The tickets never showed up. So that's a whole thing. And I got my money back. So there's no issue there. But like my son was actually kind of somewhat disappointed he didn't get a chance to go. So there's one more preseason game because I don't like he wants to go, but he's a teenager. Like he's just like, oh, I want to do this now. 5 minutes later, I don't really care. So I'm gonna take him to another preseason game, which now my other son also wants to go. So now I have to spend even more money for the both of them. And the tickets are more expensive now. Yay. So we're doing that on Saturday. Now I got the tickets because I did it myself and I ain't worrying about nobody else. So I'm the one that purchased the tickets, which I should have just did in the first place. I kind of blame myself. I should have just purchased the tickets on my own. But the tickets that I was getting from this person, they were literally like one row away from the Commander's bench. It was like literally right there. That's why I went for it, because they were literally right behind the Commanders. These other tickets aren't that bad. They're like a little bit ways back, but it's still like in the 100 section, but whatever, right? So we're going to do that this weekend. But that was I was a bit angry Monday. So the last time I talked to Forte thought I had gone to the game. I ain't said nothing about it, but I was.
Yeah, because that time I talked to you, you said I said get ready, and you said y'all got to get ready for the game, and I was like, all right, man, enjoy the game with your family. But that was Monday.
Right. Now, real quick, Ramon in the chat says, just got a purple 8-bit do Ultimate 2 controller. Liking it so far, but the back buttons will not work for me the way I hold controllers. You mean they don't work, or they just don't like how you hold the controller? You can't hit the button easily.
You can't hit the buttons,
Ramon,
probably.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. Take it back if it's not gonna work for you. Yeah, also get some clarification there, because if you haven't set the back buttons for, like, you have to actually program the back buttons, to be what you want them to be. So if you haven't done that yet, that might be the issue. But if it's really just like a feel thing, then yeah, just go ahead and take it back, bro. No need to stick with something that's not going to work for you. And since we're on the topic of controllers,
Lord have mercy.
I was
Here
bored,
we go.
Forte. I was really bored one day, and so I decided.
So when you were bored, you spend money.
No, I didn't. Not yet.
Oh, okay. So this isn't as bad as I think it is. Okay, go ahead.
So you know how like you see like a controller review, and some of them are like, there's two kinds of controller reviews for video game controllers. There's the one kind where it's almost like just a promotional marketing material for a company, where they're just like going over the features.
Yeah, it's basically a glorified unboxing where they show off, they take it out the box, they show you the controller, they talk about the features that are on the website and go off of and tell you all the cool things. And then next they'll tell you, hey, and if you come check out the next video in like a week, I'm going to put it through its paces and I'm going to give you the actual review of the controller.
Yeah, and their actual review is basically just them playing a game and saying, oh, it feels great, it feels good, yeah, that's it. So there's those kind of reviews, and then there are the kind of reviews for controllers I like, where they actually do real testing. They actually put the controller through its paces. They actually uphold what the controller maker said it does. And I started like, I had all these controllers, and some of these controllers I can't find reviews for. And I said, you know what? Why don't I just do my own testing? And so there was just one morning earlier this week where
God, I can't believe it.
what?
Am I hearing you saying that you actually started the thing that I told you to start?
Yes. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay,
So
continue. I'm really getting to this now.
so I did. I literally tested using two different methods. I got there's one program called from Gamepad Media, and I took their program and I did the polling rate test with that, which also gave me an input lag test, which was very, very fascinating. And then I also did there's actually like a web page you can go to that will, you detect on PC where it detects your controller, and then you can test the thumbsticks, you can test how quickly the buttons are like how quickly they're pressing, and you can get the error rate on your triggers and thumbsticks. And that was also fascinating. So I took all of that and I made a little tweet with some of my findings. But like it really kind of like illuminated to me because I heard so much from other like real reviewers about how there are controllers that are marketed with certain features that they don't have. Like imagine if someone said, um, let's imagine if LG. Matter of fact, he's even better. Let's imagine if TCL said, "Here's our new TV. It's got HDR10." And HDR10 means it's gotta have 1,000 nits in order to be rated for HDR10. And but then in testing, someone like ratings.com finds out it's really only like 850 nits. I mean, that's still real HDR, but that's not HDR10. And so that's false, that's fake marketing, that's false marketing. There are some controllers out here that are being rated and they're putting all over the box, hey, it's 1,000 hertz polling rate. But when I tested those controllers that I have that have marketed for that, it was actually like 900. And I'm like, yo, that's not 1,000. Is it close? Sure. It's way more than what you get off an Xbox controller, which is 125 hertz. It's more than what you get off a PlayStation controller, which is 250 hertz. But it's not 1,000, man. So like, it's like these marketing terms that they think are just like no one's going to check up on them. And frankly, for the most part, no one does check up on them. No one goes, oh, that's really not it. I mean, honestly, until I did that this week, I took it at face value. I didn't do my own testing. But now, doing all my own testing. And I think I might actually, because I got a G7 Pro, a GameStop G7 Pro coming. It's supposed to be here this weekend. Who knows? Because this thing has been in high demand and it's already been delayed twice. But if that shows up, I'm gonna do testing for that too, and I might actually make a video off of it. That's what Forte wants to hear. That I'm gonna make a video off of it. And then awesome. there's a Gillikit. Gillikit has a new like top flight controller that they're coming out with. It's supposed to come out in October. That one I probably would do the same. And there's another controller that we're going to talk about later in the podcast that is being made by Asus. And it's their Rikiri is the name of their brand. And they're making one that's Xbox branded now for the Xbox Ally. And depending on how these things go, I might end up doing a review for that one too. So we'll see. But as far as games go, I'll get through that real quick so we can get into these topics. Somehow I ended up started playing Fire Emblem Three Houses again. And I'm doing the Blue Lion playthrough, and yeah, man, I just had to go back to it. So there's that. I've been playing Black Ops 6 again. I'm trying to, how like they got like 10 prestige levels. So I'm trying to I just want to get to that like last prestige where my level is now orange instead of white because I've prestiged, to the max. I just want to do that before Black Ops 7 comes out. So that's my only reason to still playing at this point. I've been playing some Fortnite. I got all the Power Ranger skins and the ODST skins. I know. And also, I'm going to show this. I finally tried out Soulframe.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And so Soulframe, not bad, man. Look, and I remember hearing about it when it first came out, and I was like, remember hearing people saying it was awful, and I remember signing up, but this is like over 2 years ago. And Digital Streams, I guess they just ignored me. I don't know why it took so long for them to give me access, but like I completely forgot that I signed up, and then out of nowhere, like I get an email saying, "Hey, you've been approved to get into Soulframe," and I'm like, "What?" Okay, so I installed it, but I just was too busy doing other things and I wasn't paying attention. And then finally, I decided, let me go ahead and play it. Yo, not bad. Not bad at all. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's Souls-like because I feel like there's too many games that are borrowing elements of Souls games, but they're not really Souls-like. So this is kind of like that. So it's not Souls-like, but it's definitely an action RPG. And visually it looks great and runs extremely well on my hardware. And I got a 4080 Super, so it's not exactly anything to sneeze at, but I didn't have any issues. And I know it's been pretty much in early access for a really, really long time. So I'm sure that it took them, they had all the time in the world to optimize it, but a lot of fun. Enjoyed myself. I like the combat. It's not bad. It's got this mechanic where, you remember how like in Warframe you could go to your ship and that was like your home base and you could change your weapons, change your Warframe, change all kinds of stuff. Well, in Soulframe, you actually kind of go in between dimensions, which is kind of dope the way it looks, because you literally like do the whole like you just fall to the ground with your arms out as if you don't care about getting a concussion or something, and then you kind of just slip into this other world where you start to slowly kind of build out things there, but that's like your home base. So it's and then you just, when you're done changing things, you just fall back into the real world. It's pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. It was all right. I haven't played it since the first like couple of hours I put into it, but I'm gonna get back to it because it was all right. And I played a game that was actually shown at the opening night live Gamescom. It was called Void Breakers. Void Breakers it's like a little indie game. I played the demo because the full game's not out yet. Not as favorable. Why is it not playing correctly? Oh my gosh. I hate when that happens. Let me figure out the gameplay. Why that's not working. But no, so it reminded me of the fast-paced, like first-person shooting of like Metal Eden, which is another demo that we talked about a little while ago. And Metal Eden is really, really good. Void Breakers, now I like the movement. My issue really is just that like the gunplay, like the controller gunplay isn't quite there yet. And I kept like tweaking it, but it wasn't like really like, I would aim at something and it was like really difficult for me to keep my line of sight on enemies. And then the enemies are coming at you really, really fast. And you're moving around, you're dashing, you're sliding, you're jumping, and all this stuff to get away from them. And essentially, the mechanic, the way to get rid of the enemies is that they give you the ability to kind of like use telekinesis on objects in the world and throw them at the enemies, or you throw grenades at like the buildings all around you, and those buildings explode and then fall on the enemies and it staggers them. That plus you shooting the enemies drop all this health and ammo. And that's how you basically stay alive. If you're not doing that, you're going to die pretty quickly. And it's a roguelite. So it's like you're literally just doing all that while upgrading your weapon and so forth. And it's got a kind of a pretty basic storyline to it, but it seems somewhat interesting. So it's not bad. I would say if you're on PC, whether you're on a desktop PC or a PC handheld, then give it a shot. It's on Steam. It's a free demo. It's not difficult to run. I think it actually probably will run really well on PC handhelds actually. So I think people should give it a shot. Forte, what have you been playing?
Hollow Knight, I finished it. Went back and played some Battlefield 2042 because I'm just addicted to Battlefield again now. Outside of that, I finally got a chance to start playing Donkey Kong because my wife finished it, so now I can actually play it, and it's actually really, really good, bro. Really, really good. And then outside of that, I'm trying to think anything else. I was playing what's the name of that game? Triangle Strategy. Because it finally came to other platforms. It came to Xbox, it came to PlayStation, because remember it was only Switch and PC.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't play it on Xbox or anything, but I finally picked it up because it went on sale on the eShop for Switch, and I picked it up and started playing that. And the game is actually really, really good. I'm starting to like really get back into like RPGs. That's kind of what I was really, really super heavily into during the PS1, NES, not NES, but Super NES and stuff like that. Played a lot of games like that back then, and I don't know. I think it was just more of just something different, like a palate cleanser, something to do that was not the same of the norm that I would normally play. And I kind of think Bravely Default, replaying that on Switch 2 kind of did it for me. But yeah, just getting back into games like that. And but I picked that up and I'm going through that now. And I actually played probably like 30-40 minutes of it today while I was at work, while I was just sitting there with nobody in the store. I was like, yeah, just boot up some Triangle Strategy and played a little bit of that before it got kind of busy at work. But yeah, that's kind of been the things I've been kind of doing as of late.
Cool. Are you ready to get into these rapid fire topics, man?
I am.
Oh really?
Oh really?
Oh really?
So yeah, some people are going to be upset with this one. DICE has nerfed Battlefield 6 movement in light of the open beta's performance. And this is essentially, specifically what they are nerfing is the quote unquote momentum part of the movement. So when you can get to running and then start to build up momentum, they are nerfing the horizontal speed that happens kind of as you get carried from like a slide into a jump. They reduced that. They have increased the inaccuracy of your aim while jumping or sliding. And they've also added a greater penalty for consecutive jumps. So if you if you're spamming jumping, the jumping that you the later consecutive jumps are not as high as the first ones. And all of this is in an effort to curb what they believe is gameplay that does not feel like Battlefield. They don't want Battlefield to feel like Call of Duty. And you could look at some gameplay clips. Some of it are from people who were cheating, clearly, right? But like there are some gameplay clips of like how the movement was, and some people were absolutely kind of playing the game like it's Call of Duty, and that's not really what they want. Now, some people may not like that. and a lot of them are people who are Call of Duty players. Before I let my big Battlefield fan over here go, I would just say, if you don't like it, go back to Call of Duty, bro. Because this isn't Call of Duty. This is Battlefield. It should play differently. And if that's something that you're not down for, then this isn't the game for you. Forte, the floor is yours. Forte?
Well, it really is going to impact people that like to run and gun, like it's Call of Duty. How did you really take advantage when you were playing? Did you take advantage of that? Of the movement speed, the acceleration, and the deceleration of certain. You didn't, because I didn't either.
I just adapted to how I feel like the game should play. Like I wasn't trying to play it like Call of Duty. I was just trying to like I look, like I play Halo, and I play Halo completely different than how I play Call of Duty.
I do too,
and you need to, because like the whole ADS aim shoot kind of aspect that you get from the gunplay from Battlefield and Call of Duty, that doesn't work in Halo. And so you really have to play these games differently. And so long story short, I just tried to play it like it was a Battlefield game. I it took a little bit of time to adapt. I noticed that. So like, and full disclosure for me, I don't care that my KD wasn't as high as I would like it to be, but first weekend my KD was like a 1.58, and then I just saw my stats today for weekend 2, and it went up to a 1.85. So there was improvement there, but it's not quite where I want it to be. I would like it to be higher. That said, I wasn't trying to play it like anything but a Battlefield game, and I feel like that's the way you should play the game. It's the way it's designed for.
I agree. Now you got me about to go see what mine was. But no, I think they did a really good job in, catering a lot of the gameplay to a lot of content. Because I felt like there were instances, especially when you were playing on certain maps, that I was like, man, this is like basically playing COD right now. Especially with people with like, medium range, short to medium range weapons, shotguns that were like, might as well have been a sniper rifle at certain points. But I do think in general, this is probably a really good move, because to an extent, it kind of took away some of the allure of what a Battlefield game was. Because like, why am I going in this building? Like, if you had a shotgun, you just went in the building just to go in the building. People were reckless going into buildings.
Shotguns were OP, and that's some other things that like I didn't like. There is later on Battlefield 6 open beta, like our impressions, because we didn't get a chance to do that last week because we were, we didn't do last week, so I didn't want to get too deep into that. But yeah, some of the, like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, if we gonna criticize the beta, I got some smoke for some other things, not necessarily smoke, but some, constructive criticism that is not them nerfing movement, because I didn't expect it to have that kind of movement. And in real short, I'm all for changes that improve a game, from where the game was to where it's going to be in the future. I'm all for that. My only like pushback is, don't try to copy something else. So like, I don't want them to be like Call of Duty. I want them to be like Battlefield. And that means if you add new things, it's new things that you can't find anywhere else. Not, hey, it's like a mixture of two different kind of games. Because I don't think Battlefield and Call of Duty are a good mix. So yeah.
Woo! Let's go. 1.98. Let's go.
Look at you.
Let's go. Improvement.
How many matches did you have?
I had 23.
23. I actually had 41 this time. I played a lot more matches.
Well, you had a lot more than me last time too. I think you had about a good 15, 16 more matches last time. So you had almost over 20 matches more than me.
Yeah, I was having a good time, man.
Oh yeah, it's fun, man. I can only imagine how much better my KD would have been after that if we didn't have that last night that we played where I felt like I was about to pull my hair out because of shotguns and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we probably both was over 2.0 before then, man. That was
it got to the point where I was like, good God.
All right, let's not get too deep into that.
Let's go.
Still got that as a topic. Go ahead. So anything else you want to say on that before we
No, man. I mean, I think it's a good move. I mean, you got a lot of people that play games like COD into the fold to see if they enjoy the game, and it's one of the biggest betas. It's the biggest beta that Battlefield has ever had up to this point. I think it definitely served the purpose of what it needed to. But I think a lot of things that happened is they needed to scale back a lot of that, like especially with the movement and stuff. Now, if they want to have like certain game modes where a lot of that stuff is kind of amped up, you know, the more close quarter gameplay and stuff like that, I can see them having like particular modes and stuff for it. But the whole game was running like that, and to an extent, it was fun. But then when you go back and you start, especially if you go back and play like 2042 or Battlefield 4 or anything like that, you'll really notice that there is a really ramp up in just the acceleration of your character, which I expect to be somewhat there due to the fact that this is a newer game and, you know, a lot, and then the performance is going to run better. But it was just a lot of crazy stuff going on. But in general, like I still enjoyed the game enough to the point where this isn't going to really, it's not going to affect me. It actually makes me more happier. I just really want to see what's going to happen, especially with the Call of Duty beta coming out very, very soon. Like, what's the conversation around that going to be versus what this was and the changes that they are already going to be making to it for people when the game comes out in its full.
Cool. All right, next up. We got some changes going on at Bungie. So Pete Parsons, the former, now I can say former, studio head of Bungie has stepped down. He is resigning. In his place is going to be the former general manager over Destiny 2 and chief development officer for Bungie. His name is Justin Truman. Not the president of Canada, Justin Trudeau, but Justin Truman, you know, in case you get him confused. And essentially, they got new leadership now. And although he's coming from within Bungie, with a lot of the comments that have been stated by Sony in regards to Bungie and their future and their current performance since they've been acquired by Sony, it looks like the assimilation of Bungie as an independent studio under Sony to being a part of PlayStation Studios has been completed. Forte, what are your thoughts?
So, this man was shown the door, and PlayStation did him the solid of saying, we're going to allow you to retire, sir. You didn't live up to the agreement that we had in place. There is no reason for you to stay here, because once we integrate Bungie fully under SIE and under PlayStation, there is no reason for you to still be a part of the future of what we got going on. So we will do what Microsoft does. We will allow you to exit quietly on your own terms and say that, you know, I am just, you know, leaving because I want to do something else. He hasn't really come out with a statement yet on it, or he probably did. I don't know.
Collecting extremely expensive collector item vehicles. You know,
that's
what he wants to do.
I mean, I hope that he can afford those. I mean, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. I'm not even going to say that I hope he can afford those cars still after they're going. You know, older cars like that take a lot of money to maintain. You know, just saying. But I think he's going to be perfectly fine, because I do think he is still getting his payout for his time still at Bungie and everything. That's kind of how it always happens. You can't say somebody's leaving and retiring because it did not still get him that payout, because guess what? He wouldn't be leaving if that payout wasn't coming. So he definitely still got the payout. But yeah, he's no longer part of the company no more. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Hopefully all the people that were impacted by him can, you know, take solace in the fact that that man is no longer there. And the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is what's next when it comes to Bungie. Like, we already know, we know Truman is stepping in. I think he's basically over. He's over the whole studio now, but he was the person that was mainly over Marathon at this point right now.
Oh no.
So well, remember he came in halfway through after, you know, they let go of what's his name? The other guy, I forget his name. That got the sexual harassment case.
I know you mean.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
I don't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he came in halfway. So it's just more of a situation where I don't see anything really positive still happening from this, because I still want to know what's going to happen with Marathon. Is it actually going to come out, or is PlayStation playing us and saying, it's on ice, and you know, we're just delaying it for temporarily until we can fix all of the issues in the game? Or are they just gonna, you know, recast the studio for a new IP, like something like you said earlier, earlier this month? You know, are they gonna, like, you know, kind of nix that project and take that talent and say we're just gonna build something new? There's a whole bunch of different ways they can go with it, but that's probably the biggest thing that I'm interested in moving forward. But I know there's a lot of people out there that's going to be happy to see that man walk out the door. I just hate when these companies make it seem like it's one thing when it's really something else. You know, you don't just go up in a board meeting during a financial call and say that a company is losing their independence slowly, and they will be, and that it's pretty much determined that they will at some point in the near future fall under SIE and PlayStation leadership, and then all of a sudden the head of the studio is retiring. Come on now, let's be for real here. But that's it.
We see this all the time with leadership, with, like, we saw it with Jay Raymond recently. You know, like that game, we don't know what's going on with Fair Games. There's been no official word really on, but we know that, like, their last fiscal year, it was supposed to be released, and yet we haven't seen 1 second of gameplay. And so she ends up leaving her studio, and we all kind of know what that is. Like, they either missed the milestones, or it's when it was looked at by third parties or by leadership, they looked at it and said, this is not going to work. This isn't going to perform well, based off of what we've learned from releasing Concord and what we've learned from the feedback of Marathon. So, like, it's just, executives get these kind of out. They get the whole, hey, look, you get the kind of write your way out. We see it all the time. Mike Ybarra, you know, like these guys didn't just leave on their own accord, but they were allowed to kind of write their own exit. I've literally, in my professional life, have got the phone call from directors who tell me, hey, SloMo, yeah, Edward is no longer with us, so I need you to shut down his VPN, redirect his emails to me going forward, and essentially shut off his Active Directory so that, like, he can't access anything. He doesn't know it yet, but when he comes in on Monday, we're firing him.
He doesn't.
Bet. All right.
Slow was like, yep, say less.
All right. I mean, it's what it is. So, like, but then that guy comes in, they fire him privately, and then later on in our meetings, he goes, hey guys, so I'm moving on. You know, I'm going to go do something else now. and yada yada yada. And I'm just sitting there in the meeting, just looking at this guy lie through his teeth, because like when he came into the office, he thought he had a job, and he wasn't looking for no new job. But now that's exactly what he's doing. So like this stuff is, it happens all the time. And the statement that's even stated to other employees is really just to save face. And that dude did that. Like, of course the name is fake, but like that was a real scenario when I was just an IT network administrator, and that guy, they allowed him to stay for the rest of the month, let people believe he was actually choosing to leave, and that he was getting work done in his 2-week notice. But he didn't have a 2-week notice. He was looking for a new job.
Right.
That entire time. And so like, there's always what really happened and then what they tell you. And so, of course, we don't have any inside information on it, but Frank, like, come on. Pete Parsons, zero respect from Bungie developers within the company. Zero respect for him from the Bungie community, who were very, very faithful with Bungie for years. And just a vote of no confidence all the way around. So of course he got let go. Of course he's out of here. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Sir, before we
Oh, really? Oh, really?
So, about those PlayStation 5s, just a little bit more expensive now than they were before. So now Sony has increased the price of all PlayStation 5 hardware by $50 in the from what I saw in the Americas. So I guess also goes for Canada. I guess they're just getting roped into this, as collateral damage. But yeah, I think it's mostly about the U.S. I'll probably need some confirmation that Canada is also dealing with that too. But now, as effective as of today, the standard PlayStation 5 is now $549.99. The PS5 digital is $499, and the PS5 Pro is $749. Forte, what are your thoughts on things becoming more expensive?
Oh man, well, we all know, that the tariffs were gonna, go into effect very beginning of this month. We just didn't know if it was gonna be 25%, 10%, 15%. We didn't know what it was gonna be. Some companies back in May of 2025 was like, listen, none of our manufacturing and production of these consoles are here in America. We do most of ours in China. And the tariffs there at the time was 30%. And they came out and said, hey, we're just going to raise our console prices now. People looked at them like they was crazy. They was like, hey, why are you raising your prices? And what we said, me and you both said then, oh, wait, the PlayStation is going to do the same thing at some point. Trust me, it's going to happen. And then Nintendo was supposed to do their pre-orders. And what happened? News about tariff stuff started happening. They delayed their pre-orders because not only were they going to be affected by the tariffs, they wanted to make sure that, hey, can we do this and not kill ourselves and lose money? They ended up deciding on the fact that they can, still release the consoles because the tariffs that's when he put a 90-day hold on it, or a 60-day hold or something. He put a hold on the tariffs, and then Nintendo came out. It's like, cool, Switch 2s are the same price, but guess what? Accessories, they going up in price. We started getting Joy-Cons for $95. $95
as of now, because we all know as soon as Nintendo sells through whatever stock they already like pushed through before the tariffs went live, as soon as they're done with that, you're gonna see that price increase.
And and that's the same thing.
Isn't taking on additional hit on their revenue. It's
no, and that's what I said. And when that happened, and they said, and then when Nintendo came out and said we're raising prices of our Switch 1 consoles and select accessories, I was like, oh, Switch 2 next. I said, right now they just got a surplus. Like, I still have Switch 2s at my store. We had so many of them because Nintendo, shout out to them, first of all, they announced on August, I think it was August 1st, that they had over 6 million consoles sold for the Switch 2. Number one selling best console of all time when it comes to like right out the gate. Fastest selling most console of all time. So they had systems here. They still have systems here. So they're not in a hurry to raise their price just yet. But they will. It's going to happen. Switch 2 is going up in price too. And then PlayStation. The one that everybody celebrated. The one when we looked out and we told them like, hey, you might want to go out and buy your PlayStation 4 Pro, your PlayStation 5 Pro now, because it's going to go up in price. It's not going to be $700 forever. It's going to be something higher. Oh, you even got screwed double time if you like a digital system when it comes to the PS5, the base digital. That thing has seen a 25% increase in price since its inception of it coming out. That was remember SloMo, remember how much a base digital system was at launch? Do you remember how much they were?
They were $300 and $400.
What? Guess what? How much is and how much is a digital system now?
That digital now is $500. $500. And the what is, I don't know what the Series S is right now.
Oh no, the Series S is $399. Is $399.
So they're both $100 more than what they were.
Yes,
5
they're
years
both
ago.
100. They're both $100 more.
Insane.
Insane.
And so that people understand where we're going with this, because I don't want people to think that we're like being corpos shilling for corporations. We're not. Like, all this stuff is egregious and it sucks. But that's how businesses are. They all suck for doing this. All of them. Because they all will prioritize their own pockets. And this is something that, you know, not to get political, but this is something that a lot of people were saying the point of these tariffs is only just going to hurt the consumer, because all it's going to end up doing is just passing that cost off to us.
That 15% ain't getting,
or countries aren't going to eat the cost of these tariffs. The consumer is. And we are seeing it all across the board, and it frankly, it sucks, because, you know, there are things that, you know, it's tough enough as it is out here. Everything is more expensive. Inflation is crazy, and a lot of companies are not like really providing. Say you work for a company for a while, they're not giving you a standard rate, for the most part, a standard raise to keep up with inflation at the very least, outside of a raise for great performance, right? So I think I saw a stat that says something like what was considered, in order to earn, well, in order, like, the value, it's the value of what you were making. And let's say if you were making 100K annually back in 2020, in 2025 you need to maybe making 125K to have, like, essentially the same amount of salary to keep up with everything. And we all know a lot of these companies that were offering that back then, they offering that or something less now. So it's just unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate that this is the way things are. But It's not going to change no time soon, unfortunately. You know, we will have the same conversation when Nintendo raises the price of the Switch 2.
Yep, it's gonna be. Yep, and when it happens, we're gonna be like, man, told you guys to go out. And the funny thing is, my associate called me yesterday when after they announced the price hike, and he instantly said, like around an hour after the price hike they announced the hike. He said he sold 3 PlayStation 5 Pros and 3 PlayStation 5 digital systems in like a 3-hour span. Because and people were trading in their old systems. And the funny thing is, what's crazy about it, if you think about it, Slow-Mo, they're only raising the price by $50. They didn't even do what Xbox did, where they went scorched earth and said $100 out the gate. Now, if you were now the digital system has went up in price $100, but that's because they raised the price when they went to the slim model. Like the digital was $399 for the original. When the slim came out, they raised the price, you know, on people like right off the gate. It said, well, the digital slim, because they said it's a bigger hard drive. And I'm like, well, you didn't do the same thing with the disk drive one, because that has the same hard drive. So, but they tried to use the fact that, you know, you're getting a bigger hard drive. And I'm like, okay, everything else is the same about the system though. So why you raise it $50? They just wanted to raise it $50. And then they came out the gate and here's another $50. So, but people are reacting to it. So people are going out spending money now because they don't want to pay the $50 hike later. And I'm like,
yeah,
bro, I can understand also, if it was, go ahead.
Just real quick. I know for a fact I've seen like documentation to prove it, that some of the, I'm not gonna say which company this was, but some of these companies have raised prices on things like hardware or services because the other platform did it and it wasn't like an outrage or any adverse effect, and it didn't hit their numbers in any large degree to raise that price. They said, oh, they got away with it? Bet we're gonna do the same thing. I've seen that as a bullet point in documentation that I've seen. So I know that is how this stuff works. And I know that like market trends will definitely play a part in what they'll get away with. So if they think they can get away with it because someone else did, they're going to do that. And I know that doesn't quite speak to what's going on right now, but it's just expect more of this in the future.
Well,
I really do think that we're kind of getting it to a point where things, and there's a topic later on about the Xbox Ally. I think the price of things is reaching a certain point where people are going to start to check out on what they deem to be worthwhile. And everyone's got that breaking point where he's like, you know, I like this device, I like what this provides, but I don't like it at that price.
Right.
And so I think we're kind of starting to reach a point that we could touch on much more once we get to the final topic. But I feel like that a lot of that's about to start coming into play real soon. Anything real quick before we get to it?
No, I think that's it. I will say the last thing is, if you want to like look at the, like you said, the trends and stuff and how people they look at things like that, you only got to go back to 2013 and see what Microsoft did. Because guess what? If Microsoft's press conference would have went over great, PlayStation would have never done what they did to make sure that they were the complete opposite of what Microsoft did, because they saw the press live and in 4K in 2013. People did not like any of the things that Microsoft was talking about. Pack-ins had to be, the camera was forced on you, DRM updates, 24-hour check-ins. Nobody liked it. And guess what? PlayStation the next day, that night, was like, hey, remove all that, unpack the camera, do all that, get me some new slides. They had their artists in there working overtime to get all of that stuff completely changed over. And the reason and people can say like, well, you don't really know that, you don't know that. And I said, okay, well, let me ask you this. Why was there a day one update for that system that literally removed all of that stuff? There was like a 8 to 10 gig update that you had to do on your system day one. They said you cannot play your brand new system without doing a day one update that was so big. It was like bigger than most of the updates they released throughout the lifespan of the PS4. So that, like SloMo just told you, that right there tells you that they look and watch the trends of other companies, and that's just the honest to God truth. But that's all I got to say on it.
Cool. Next rapid
Oh,
fire.
really? Oh, really?
Rod Ferguson, formerly of Blizzard's Diablo and Xbox's The Coalition, has now joined Take-Two to be the studio head of Cloud Chamber, which will be overseeing the development of the next BioShock game. And I think we can pretty much say at this point that Rod Ferguson is like, I guess in the industry, he's looked at as a good steward of popular IP, because if you look at his last, say, decade of work at the Coalition, he was the steward over moving Gears from the Gears trilogy to Gears 4 and 5. Moved on to Diablo, and that had a very troubled development for Diablo 4. He stabilized that, got that out the door, and now he's going on to BioShock, which Cloud Chamber also, I think, maybe I might be misquoting this number, but I believe 80 developers were laid off recently of Cloud Chamber due to issues with the game's development, and now that's Rod's taking over to steward this game out the door. It just seems like the industry has decided that if your popular IP hasn't been out in a while and is having issues getting launched, let's go find Rod Ferguson. He'll do it for us. Forte, what do you think?
I think in general, actually, it's a really, really good move. I think the one thing that Rod Ferguson did, gameplay, is he always had the gameplay aspect of, like, if you just think about Gears of War, even with Diablo, you just think about just the gameplay in general, the things that some people probably didn't like.
But don't you think he's too safe?
Oh, well, I think he's too safe with Diablo. I think he was too safe with Diablo.
I would say Gearheads think he was too safe with Gears.
Well, Gears 5? Well, Gears 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I will say about Gears 4 and 5, it was just a simple fact. I mean, 4, you got brand new protagonists. You're changing a lot of the stuff over. I think in general, yes, they did play it really safe, but I also think that might have been part of the, like, they didn't have, well, you got to think, they only had 3 studios at that time. Like, when did Gears 5 come out? Was it like 2016?
I feel like
2017.
I feel it was a little bit late. I feel like Gears 5 was like 2017 or
2017. So yeah, at that point, because yeah, well, if I remember correctly, it was still around the time that they only had like 3 or 4 first-party studios. So
yeah, maybe 4 at the most.
Yeah, so part of me feels like when you kind of think about playing it safe, it's like, what do you don't want to like.
Actually, wow, we were both wrong. It came out in 2019.
Oh, it's 2019. Okay, so it was like right when they started purchasing all the studios and stuff. But then by the time
purchased all those studios.
Well, by the time, well, I'm saying, but the game, game was already in super development before they, even purchased those studios. So the identity of that game was probably cemented in the beginning of 2017 already. No, I do think he played it safe, but I also think Xbox really played it safe in general because they didn't have anything. But go ahead.
Because I don't think Xbox, when it comes to game development, I don't think they really play it safe because they do have some unique content. Like South of Midnight's not safe.
No, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about now. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about then.
But even then, you know, like State of Decay 2 was then. Sea of Thieves was then. I don't really think they play it safe. What I will say though is that, like, when it comes to Rod Ferguson in particular, I know people who are heavy on Gears, and I just really care about the campaigns. I don't really care about the multiplayer. Oddly enough for me, because I'm a big multiplayer guy, but Gears multiplayer I don't really care about it. But the people who do care about all of it, the campaign and the multiplayer, kind of felt like I never see any of those Gears guys really speak highly of Rod. Not saying that he's bad or anything, just that like it was just okay. It wasn't. They kind of like. This is what I've definitely heard. It didn't feel like it had the soul of Gears. If you understand that.
Well, the soul left with Cliffy B.
True. Now, when it comes to Diablo, I've seen people say this, especially in light of other games in that genre, that isometric kind of action RPGs. Like Path of Exile, what's the Korean one that Lost Ark? They felt Gears 4 didn't go far enough from what I said. Gears 4, sorry, Diablo 4 didn't go far enough from what Diablo 3 did. And then in light of what, like, you didn't have to go completely bonkers. Like Path of Exile skill trees, like, go on for infinity, right?
Yes, they do.
People kind of felt like this was not enough in that direction for the people who were really into those games. Not saying Diablo 4 is a bad game, because it's a good game. But it's like, there are people who were heavy into that just like, but this isn't like very much different from Diablo 3. And I feel like, and maybe you disagree with me, and that's fine. We can talk it out. But I feel like when you add ROG Ferguson to a project, you're basically saying, I want the status quo. I want what, game design wise, a solid, well optimized experience that provides exactly what we have done before and nothing else. Which I don't know how you do that with BioShock, as that is a single player game with I don't know how anyone does that without Ken Levine. Honestly, like, I just don't know how you even make that game without him, considering what you got from BioShock 1 and 2 and Infinite. Like, I just don't know how that's how you can do a safe version of BioShock. But I feel like that's probably why they've been in so many issues in development already, and why they felt like they had to go to ROD to get it stabilized. So with that, my full thought out, what do you think about that?
No, I definitely agree with that, and I think he really played it safe. In my opinion, like, if I had to think about if agreeing with the safe play is, I will definitely say with Diablo, because I feel like there was a lot of design changes that were made in Diablo, especially when it came to like the overall power of your character being tied to your character itself and not the gear itself. Because that was the one thing, it's like, that was the one thing that kind of turned me off about, Diablo 4. Like, I put well over 2,000 hours almost in Diablo 3, and I was willing to go season to season, level up a new character, all the new builds, get the new artifacts and the new armor and stuff, because the armor is what made the difference in the game compared to the decisions they made inside of Diablo 4, where if they just tweak a little setting on your character, the armor and stuff you get doesn't matter because it's all based on your character's development and where you put your skill points and stuff. So they took a lot of the build diversity away. They added different ways to have it, but I think they played it really, really safe by putting it all on your character so they could tweak a knob this way versus having to go out and, you know, build these illustrious builds with these different character armor sets where set bonuses really matter and everything like that. So I think he just didn't want to mess up what was already great about Diablo, but I think he took I won't say the heart away from it, but like the experimentation part of Diablo. Like you would just grind for 20 to 30 hours just to like have a theory on a build that you want to do that may or may not pan out. And that was kind of part of the allure of the game. So I think they kind of removed that part of it. But I do agree with that side of it. But part of me just feels like when it comes to like the Xbox side, I just think a lot of things, like you said, Sea of Thieves did come out, but that was from Rare. It was going to be their first game. State of Decay had already been a game that was already on people's radar. It was going to be the second one. But Gears of War is like their tentpole franchise. It's like, if you're in question about anything and you feel like you don't want to like waste a game in general, you're not going to do it with Halo. You're not going to do it with Forza or Motorsport or Forza Horizon, and you weren't going to do it with Gears. So you didn't want to lose the confidence of those people, even though I think they did to an extent, because I think if you think about Halo, they didn't play it safe with Halo Infinite. I mean, not Halo Infinite, Halo 5 Guardians. I think they tried to push the envelope and do something different. They just lied to everybody.
Yeah. Like, well, that's true. And I will also say, I think some of the discussion about like Rod Ferguson, I'm just talking about like the perception of it.
Well, yeah, the perception of it is you're right. Yeah, the perception is reality. So you're right in that stand.
Yeah, because like the reality of it is that like Gears 5 wasn't really safe when they tried to incorporate. I think it's in like Act 3. They tried to incorporate open world elements. It was pretty barren. It wasn't that good of an open world. But I think
it took them too long to get to that part too.
Right, and then they also with like the, you know, it's been long enough. It's been 6 years. We can talk about it. You know, the choice to choose which one lived and which one died between JD and Dell. Like that's something that has never been done in Gears before, and you know I thought that was executed well. Depending, but you know, I'm big into BioWare games, so they do that a lot. But it's really all depends on how the next game after that, when they finally get back to finishing the story, shows your choices. Because if the choices becomes completely irrelevant, because the one that survives it doesn't really have much of a role in the game going forward, then it's just like, well, I mean, it's a pointless choice. And I feel like that's been the kind of a weakness of Telltale games and BioWare games, where they make choices. They give you the illusion of choice, but then come to find out that no matter which one you chose, it didn't really affect things in the narrative or the story very much at all. Then it's just kind of pointless. So like, it'll be some time before, you know, we get to find out how bad that may have been or how good that might have been. But the point is that he did take chances, and he did kind of veer outside of what the norm was. It's just that for the faithful, they look at like, well, the multiplayer didn't really change. Or the multiplayer didn't get improved, or it didn't have some of the criticisms, or even so Cliffy B saying about the game, about like the reticle and where the reticle was in multiplayer. All those kind of criticisms still stand, you know. So it is what it is. Anything else you want to?
No, that's it.
Say on that one. All right. Hopefully this did. Okay. Right here we
Oh,
go.
really? Oh, really?
I wish I had gameplay for Helldivers, but I don't. But there is the crossover for Halo ODST and Helldivers 2 begins on August 26th. Players who are playing Helldivers 2 will be able to use Halo weapons like the UNSC, the assault rifle, the SMG, shotgun, and pistol. If you're playing the game, you'll be able to use the Hell Jumper's armor or the recon armor for Oni. And all this will be available on all platforms that have Helldivers 2. So there isn't any like platform specific like exclusivity here for everyone that has it. That's just on PlayStation, Xbox. I don't know when it launches on Xbox. I probably should check that ahead of time. And on PC, everyone that have access to that. Forte, have you ever played Helldivers 2?
I have. I played it.
Okay.
I didn't play a lot. No, I'm gonna jump in. I'm mad that I gave you my PC copy and I took the PlayStation copy, but still.
I forgot about that. Yes, you did. Thank you.
I kept the PlayStation copy and gave you the PC when I should have reversed that. And in my mind, I was thinking you know what? Being a friend, I gave you the option. I said, which one do you want? And you said PC, and I was like, F. Bro,
I appreciate you.
And now I wish I would have just had it on PC, because that's where it's best at.
I mean, it might be. You might be able to find like Green Man Gaming for like a great. I mean, it's like.
Oh no! I'm gonna end up. No, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy it again on PC, and because that's where I want to play it at. But I think I'm definitely jumping in on. What day is it coming out?
Let me check here. I mean, because like it's already out on,
Yeah, it's already out on everything else. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
It comes out on Xbox on the 26th, so it's next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's actually the same. Crap, I may have said that in my little spiel. Did I say that? I say the crossover. Okay, so I said the crossover begins on August 26th, but that's also when it releases on Xbox, which makes sense, that you would have them both come out at the same time. So, I haven't played Helldivers in a minute. I had good fun with it. I think for me, it's just it got boring over time with the gameplay loop, and although it was fun. And it's fun with friends because of all the hijinks you get into and trying to extract and the friendly fire is freaking hilarious. But
I know.
I think my interest in it waned as I couldn't get more people to play it often. So which is I think with the renewed interest in it right now, I might play it for a little bit. So. We'll see.
Nice.
Anything else you want to say on this one before we?
No, I'm good. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I will say, did you watch I think Xbox had the shorter trailer. PlayStation put out the longer trailer where they showed off all the weapons and stuff. And I was like, oh man, they're like showing off each individual weapon. And I was like, this is cool. But and I like watching the ODST run around with the cape on. They did a really good job making it feel like it's part of that universe. And I like the effort that they put into it.
Yeah, so I like one. I think the crossover makes a lot of sense. Just off of IP state, like Helldivers dropping on pods onto planets and do their missions, fighting for democracy. The Hell Jumpers with the ODSTs dropping on pods on their missions, fighting against the Covenant. It's the same. It's the same. Very, very similar concept.
Makes you feel like they got it from somewhere.
They definitely got it from Halo, which is fine.
They definitely
everything
got
takes inspiration from something else, right?
Yeah,
but I think it works to have them together, and hopefully, look, there's a whole generation of gamers who barely know what Halo is, and if this helps introduce some people to Halo, and maybe they want to give, when Halo shows up on PlayStation soon, if they want to start giving that a shot, I'll gladly shoot them in the face. I'll gladly shoot them in the face in Halo. That'll be a lot of fun. We can have a good time.
It would be a lot of fun. You wildin', bro.
All right, you ready for this last rapid fire?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
So this topic isn't going to be much fun. But I felt like it was something that we definitely need to discuss, and I'm sure you're aware about what's going on with Roblox, right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hear you. Say again.
No, yeah, I know.
So, in case the audience isn't aware, Roblox has a predator issue, and not the predator from the movies, with the dreadlocks. A predator issue where there are sick bastards that prey on children. It's gotten to the point now, and I'm so glad. I've said this multiple times on social media. I know there aren't a lot of people in this gaming community that play Roblox. I don't personally. My kids used to. They don't play it anymore. They don't have the option to. I don't. Well, my oldest does because he's old enough to know better. But like my younger kids do not play it anymore because of things that have happened on the platform. But essentially, Roblox has. I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt that like maybe they were just struggling to find ways to prevent games within Roblox, because it's a platform for games, and so you could play all kinds of games on there. From I thought they were just struggling to prevent these developers from undermining their tools that are set up to prevent children from being contacted by adults without the permission of parents, or like really undermining their efforts to stop the predators from doing what they do. But in light of the recent news now, I think we can all pretty much admit that Roblox is just complicit in allowing these things to happen. And so to give people further information, there was a user on the Roblox platform who also has a YouTube channel. Their name escapes me at this point. I forgive me for that. But they made it their mission to create these dummy accounts pretending to be children to lure in PDF files, if you know what I'm talking about. And they were trying to make sure they did it the right way, which is like not tainting the investigation or tainting the arrest, which will allow the PDF file to escape prosecution. They were staying in touch with law enforcement and trying to stay in touch with Roblox the entire time as they were interacting and initially on Roblox with these people, and then interacting with them off Roblox on other like social media apps or whatever, in order to make sure that everything was being done properly. Law enforcement has been working with them and had no problem with them, but unfortunately, we can't say the same for Roblox. Roblox, according to this user, Roblox has never responded to any of the basically the reporting they've done to report these predators. And even when authorities have arrested the predator and put them in jail, this user who has been finding these people out have found that their accounts are still active. And then they get out of jail and they go back to doing the same behavior that got them arrested in the first place. So the reason why this became like really kind of came down to a head was Roblox banned the account that was catching the predators. Let me repeat that. Instead of banning the PDF files, Roblox banned the account that was stopping them. Kind of proving that the company, the leadership, the CEO, care more about profits, because these people are probably spending a significant amount of money within Roblox. Roblox makes billions. It's a massive platform. And they care more about the profits that these people are generating and not for the users that are on the platform. The majority of the users on Roblox are children under the age of 12. So I'm glad this is coming out. I'm glad Chris Hansen has said that he and his organization are going to start focusing on Roblox in particular, because this something needs to be done. If they're not going to do anything, something needs to be done about this. Like, and sure, parents should be paying attention to what their kids are doing. Absolutely. I paid attention. I got my kids off that, make sure that they weren't interacting with that platform. Not every parent does that. But just because there are parents that are not doing their due diligence to know what their kids are being or engaging in, doesn't mean that those children should be left to be essentially exploited or abused in any kind of way. So, off my soapbox, Forte, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. The funny thing is, my youngest daughter, she plays Roblox. She's 14, so, but she's like super heavily into social media, TikTok and everything. So she's the one that told me. She said, "Do you know, Dad? Do you know what happened at Roblox?" And I was like, "No, what happened?" And then she FaceTimed me and she was like, she sent me the article and I was like, no effing way. And then I started reading down into it and I was like, so why are you banning the accounts that are actually doing something about the issue? And that's when like you just said, that's when it hit. I was like, these are the people that are spending X amount of dollars, which might be probably the top 5 to 10% of the people that spend the money on the platform. So, you know, that's what I kind of think the problem really kind of stems from, when you really look at money as being, or revenue and profits being, the thing that drives decisions that corporations make. And the funny thing is, even if that wasn't the case, the fact that they didn't do any really due diligence, and it's like, say they probably were using like certain tools to be able to identify these people. Well, the reason and I can see them banning people because of that, because you're circumventing, you know, their tools in order to, like, you know, find these people on the platform that are doing it. Basically, they're doing your job that you're not doing yourself. So I can see why people can get banned, but then on top of that, it just comes back to the simple fact of the matter, like, well, what are you doing in order to, like, not let this happen? Because it's not the responsibility of your player base to police the player base and to police situations where things like this can happen. I guarantee you it probably has something to do with somebody, you know, somebody's parent that has very good knowledge in, you know, coding and stuff like that. When it came back and he found out, and he was like, you know what? He probably looked at some stuff. It was like, okay, if they're not gonna do something, then I'm gonna do something myself. So there's a lot of reasons why things like this happen, but it just ultimately keeps coming back to the fact of, you're a $1 billion company, billions of dollars, like just ridiculous amount of money you make off this game, and the majority of your player base are, like you said, under the age of 12. Now, I haven't took my daughter up because, you know, she's very responsible. She knows right from wrong. Plus, I tell her on Roblox, the only people she can talk to is the people in her Discord, you know, which are the people she's in band with. So it's people she knows. She has her own Discord account when it comes to that stuff. But I tell her, I monitor it. I say, if I see something that I don't like, I'm going to take it away from you. And she's very, very mindful of those things. But you can't say that for all of these other kids out there. You know, a lot of people can't trust their kids as far as they can throw them when it comes to the things that they get themselves into. And I would hate for a situation to, you know, pop up that could have been 100% avoided if, you know, Roblox themselves would have like put some security measures in place. Like, if you're seeing a whole bunch of accounts being made by a particular IP address, then you would kind of think that is something up there. Like, you know, it's not like it's not like it's a higher learning institution that is on the same network and everything like that. We're talking about a rural area with an address that has an IP address of probably 3 people that live in it, but we got 50 accounts that's coming out of it. Like, either that person's doing something he ain't supposed to be doing, or, I mean, granted, that's all he's doing. That just doesn't make sense. And part of me just feels like, you know, the end results justify the means to these companies, and they don't make any type of changes until the worst happens. And we're trying to find that not to be the case in this situation, but it sucks. But they gonna learn, because then people are just gonna take their kids off the platform, and then, you know, your money is just gonna like not dry up because it's too big to just dry up. There's always gonna be people playing it, but like your kids used to play it all the time. You don't even let your young kids play it no more. That's revenue loss.
And I think, unfortunately, at this point now, it needs to go. So remember at one point Fortnite was getting called to the carpet by Congress, and a lot of it was like, you know, political grandstanding. What are you gonna do about these things, kind of thing, you know, trying to pretend like they actually care. But like, that actually galvanized Epic into actually making real changes. And Epic began to actually incorporate things. Now, the reason why I look at where Roblox is and I say, yo, they could do better. This is not like they're not even trying, frankly, because I look at where Fortnite is, and Fortnite essentially at this point is like Roblox. It is a collection of games. It's not just a battle royale. That's what people who don't play the game who think it is. That's what you see me play, but 50% of the people, and it's a lot of people who play Fortnite, are playing like the custom games that other Fortnite users have created. They're in free mode. They're doing all kinds of other stuff. They're not just playing battle royale. And so when I look at the implementation of changes that allows a child on Fortnite to not be contacted by adults, like literally there is no way for you to message or speak to a minor if you have the account set up as a child account in Fortnite. Right. When you create the username for that child account, Epic actually presents publicly the name as a different name. You could even tell, like, because they use the same syntax. It's like 2 words put together and then 4 numbers. When you see that, you know that's really a child playing, but you don't really know what that child's real account name is. And that's good to protect the child from predators. All these things could be implemented, but Roblox isn't doing any of it. And specifically, what they have done has just not been good enough. And to real quickly get into the situation that happened with my daughter, when she was on Roblox, her favorite game was this Barbie kind of game. And it's essentially, it was just, she would get her Barbie character, and then she could get a Barbie house with a Barbie car, and try on different clothes, where she was always asking me for Robux so she could buy new clothes to put on her Barbie. This is, you know, how it makes money. And so that was fine until I found out that they implemented a Barbie phone in the game. Now, she has a child account, so she can't be messaged. She doesn't hear a voice when people are playing, other people are playing in the game. She doesn't hear any of this stuff. This is the efforts I took to make sure that she couldn't be contacted, which I'm fairly certain most parents didn't even do that, right? But these are the efforts that I went through to make sure that she couldn't be contacted by predators. Well, it happened anyway. A predator playing the game. What is some grown man doing playing a Barbie game on Roblox, right? So some grown man contacted her because they were in the same server. He was able to send her messages to her Barbie phone. I ain't gonna get into details of what that was, but I was highly pissed off. I reported that user and reported the game to Roblox, and when nothing happened, I said, all right, you can't play the game no more. So I actually went through the effort of just shutting it down, and she was upset about it for a week or two, but she got over it. She plays other games now. She plays her Nintendo Switch, and she's playing Kirby and Princess Peach. She beat Kirby. She beat Princess Peach twice. She wants to play, I don't know what she wants to play now. She wants to play something else. I can't remember what it is. I need to buy it for her. But like, she's moved on from Roblox. But like, that could have gone much worse. There have been children who have been convinced to meet up with adults through that. And like, the fact that they aren't really doing anything, these people get reported and nothing happens to these people. It's just disgusting. And it just shows that they care more about the bottom line, how much money they make, than the safety of the people that's on their platform. And for that, I hope the company burns. Like, I hope it goes down in flames. I will pop champagne to it.
I agree.
All right, we're out of here with that stuff. Not out of here, but we're done with the rapid fire topics now. You ready to get into these main bad boys, man?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's get back to Battlefield 6 since I already got it on the screen. Battlefield 6 open beta is done. I don't know if they're doing another one. I don't think they're doing one this weekend. I don't know if they're doing another one before the game launches in October. But I would say this, and I think Forte could agree with me, that the second weekend was buggier than the first. I experienced a ton of visual glitches that weren't there. Some of them were there in the first weekend, but they seem to have gotten worse. There's also was a bug that broke player aim. If you were to slide twice and then come out of the slide, your gun would have like ridiculous amounts of bloom that would kind of make your accuracy absolutely terrible. I experienced that, and I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was just like some issues with the gunplay that they needed to work out, but that bug was identified as such, and they said they're going to fix it, which is fine, but still it was there. And I feel like it was more cheaters in the second weekend than it was in the first. I felt like after the first weekend, I didn't really notice a lot of cheaters. I may have felt like maybe one person was cheating. And Forte can attest, that second weekend, I felt like I was running into a cheater every other match.
Facts.
So, hey, look, I said it before, my KD went up. I got more attuned to the game, found some weapons that I really enjoyed playing. I enjoyed myself, and I'm definitely going to play this game when it comes out. I think I will go up from saying I was just going to subscribe to EA Play Pro to play it for a month or so at launch and then unsubscribe. I think I'm just going to straight up buy this game now because I'm really enjoying it that much, and I do want to see how their battle royale turns out, because I feel like that battle royale may be what really kind of, if it really hits, it may be something that will really kind of put Battlefield on the map when it comes to what is like the big live service games that really kind of run the industry. Like, we know that the lion's share of revenue that's generated on these platforms comes from like a dozen live service games. if Battlefield 6 could get into that category, we just gotta keep it a buck. It's not going to be because Conquest is amazing. It's not going to be because Battlefield is back. It's going to be because they implemented a battle royale that these kids are going to get into. Because even with Call of Duty, 2/3 of the player base is playing Warzone, not multiplayer, not campaign, not zombies. Warzone, the battle royale. So that battle royale needs to hit. I mean, even if it doesn't hit, if it's a solid Battlefield, it's going to do great, and you're going to get a lot of people coming back. It's not going to do anywhere near Call of Duty numbers, but it's going to do fine, and people will enjoy it. But you're going to hear EA say, well, it's kind of a disappointment. Kind of expected more monthly active users, more blah, 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 blah. And what they're really talking about is they were really hoping that Battle Royale turned out great. Because that's free money indefinitely. And so we'll see how that turns out. But so far, I enjoyed it overall. Forte, thoughts?
No, I enjoyed the beta, both of them. I think there's a little bit more frustration in the second beta than it was the first, but overall the enjoyment was still the same. The visual artifacting was definitely a thing. Floors looked like they were just the texture just seemed like it was like just really, really, you know how when you're looking on a hot day and you're looking at the ground and it's like you get that effect where you feel like it's water on the ground and it's not. That's kind of what it looked like when you were like certain environments when you would run inside or you look from a distance, you like look at the ground. It was like the texture of the ground was just like really, really blurry and fuzzy. And I was like, yeah, that's not supposed to be like that. But you know, in general, I don't want to move the goalpost on it because like my biggest thing was I said as long as they can have a successful beta, if they can have a successful like just overall performance, I'm happy with the game because that's like the biggest thing that's always plagued Battlefield. And even with those visual glitches and stuff like that, I think the game still held up really, really well when it came to performance. So I'm very, very happy and pleased with just the state of everything that they put in and that they got out of it. The queue, they had a queue system for the first day, and after that, it pretty much, even though there was a queue, you really pretty much just got right into the game and you started playing. I do want them to fix certain things, like when it comes to like your loadouts and everything, being able to change that stuff when you're in the post-game menu. Like you should be able to hit the start button or hit your menu button, and while you're waiting and it's doing like the launching of another game, you can still change all that stuff there. Because I do think, you know, from map to map, you know, so you shouldn't have to lead to go all the way to the lobby to change your loadouts.
Yeah, I agree. Or you have to wait until you're loaded. You're waiting into the next match, and then you got very little amount of time to kind of make that change. Which, I mean, to be fair, Call of Duty will put you back in the menu and still have you in the queue for the next match. But they do allow you the time. But like, you know, Call of Duty's matchmaking is really fast. You're pretty much, if you're trying to make some extensive changes, you're probably going to end up not being able to do that before you're being thrown into the next match anyway. But
at least one to change your weapons or something.
Right.
Yeah, because you can't do anything. You're just looking at and then if you had a bad game, you're just looking at a terrible kill screen of how bad you did. I'd rather not look at that. I'd rather change my weapons and see what I can do to not let the next game be as bad as this one. So that's it. Like I said, for the most part, not even for the most part, in general, I think it was a huge success. I think the performance held up, even with the open beta where there was going to be, I mean, I don't know if they ever put out the numbers of how many people were in the open beta, but I know at one point there was like 500,000 people on it just on Steam alone. And that wasn't even counting people that were playing inside of the Origin launcher. People was playing on Xbox or PlayStation. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was more than 750,000. I won't go all the way up to 1 million, but I wouldn't be surprised of that either if they ever come out with the numbers. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Makes sense.
So in general, the game I got what I expected, or not even what I expected. I got what I wanted because I didn't know what it was going to perform like. But now it's just time over the course of the next month and a half. Let's just fix a lot of these visual glitches. They already did some stuff when it came to the movement of the game, kind of toning back certain parts of it to be, a little bit more in line to what the Battlefield experience is. And hopefully,
and I'm fine with that. I approve of those changes. It should feel like Battlefield. It shouldn't feel like Call of Duty.
Yeah, and then the last thing is, and this will come down to what they do if they don't come out with a new beta. Hopefully, the map sizes are definitely bigger than what we played on. Because I do know of one map, which is Operation Firestorm, which is a map that was from Battlefield 4, which is a huge map. So I know that map's going to be big. But I do know that I hope it was just a design choice of just because they knew they were going to be appealing to a lot of people that like fast gunplay, where they picked a lot of the bigger, like medium to like slightly bigger maps versus, when the full game comes out, hopefully they got maps that are like drastically bigger than the ones we played on. That's the only thing that I kind of want to see different.
Although,
after this.
I don't care about that because I'm about to really piss the Battlefield fans off. I don't like your vehicles. I don't care about these vehicles. Did you even
play a map with a vehicle in it one time?
I did. Accidentally. I don't even know how we got into it. Must have been an accident. I don't even know how we got into the close quarters playlist. I ended up in I think a rush match. No, it wasn't rush. I can't remember what it was, but it was still kind of like a smaller map where it had a tank in it. And the guy in the tank was pissing everyone off. Everyone in the text chat was cussing them out because he was playing in the tank as if he was playing infantry. So when he would get shot at, he would back up and move and try to take cover. And it's just like, bro, what are you doing? You're in a tank. It's a tank. You need an engineer to kind of keep your health up, but you're in a tank. Blow these people up, man. What are you doing? And so I'm not a fan of that. I like, if you notice in all my gameplay, is the close quarters stuff. And I think where they did team deathmatch in the first weekend. And that's what I'll roll with. If that make you want to say I'm a Battlefield noob or you're not really doing the real Battlefield experience, fine. I don't want the real Battlefield experience. You can keep that ish. That's for y'all, not for me. But no, I think we did. I do want to kind of talk about these shotguns because they were in shout out to Gregor in the chat. He said that Battlefield 4, where is it? Battlefield 4 had the most balanced weapons. Battlefield 6 needs some work. I agree with that. I found some weapons that I enjoyed. The NVO with the assault rifles I liked. I found that the KTS 1000 on the LMG, I was loving that. One of the SMGs, I can't remember the name of it, I thought was pretty good. But I know they said they nerfed the shotgun to balance it and make it better. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Getting shot from around the corner, down the block, through the subway tunnel, up the staircase of the subway tunnel's third stop, and from a sky rise by a shotgun is just ridiculous. There's just no reason why the damage range should be that. If I run up in a room and a dude is in a shotgun in the room and we're 10 feet away from each other, sure. If he hits me, right, I should die. That's just the way it should work. When I am down the block and I'm firing on him with an assault rifle, he should not be doing more damage than me firing back at me with a shotgun. And I know there was people who knew that was out of whack imbalanced and we're abusing the hell out of it. And just, it is what it is. Like, people are going to take advantage of exploits or things that aren't quite balanced correctly, but they definitely got to fix that, because that's I'm enjoying myself, but that was annoying. when sometimes you didn't even see where the guy was. Like, I would go down and I'm looking around to see where the kill shot came from, and then I see it and the guy's like nowhere near me, and then I see what the weapon was, and I was like, how I was full health. I can understand if I was like barely alive and a pellet grazed me and I died. How did he kill me?
How did he kill me?
Full health from a block and a half away with a shotgun. Like, stop it. It's just crazy. So I hope that gets fixed. But anything else you want to say on Battlefield before we
No, man. Let's just hope the game lands the plane. Because if it doesn't, everybody's just gonna go back to Call of Duty.
Yeah, but look, I think, let me say this before we get done. I think everyone's going to go back to Call of Duty anyway. When I would say everyone, I mean everyone that's a main Call of Duty head.
They're going to go back.
Like, Battlefield plays completely different than COD, and it should. Though they're two different first-person shooters the same way. No one expects people who love Halo to play Call of Duty and vice versa. It's just like they're just because they are a first-person shooter doesn't mean that they're going to play the same. People who don't play first-person shooters think that, but people who do play first-person shooters can tell the difference. Like, these are very different flavors of the genre, and they should feel and play differently. And so I think the COD fans, and we hear them really loud being, we're going to talk about, dang, you know what? Yeah, we're going, because the next topic is games, opening night games live impression, so we can talk about that a little bit with Black Ops 7. But there are people who are unhappy with the state of Call of Duty, and they're looking for something else. And look, I'm not dismissing those people's experiences. They absolutely will try everything under the sun because they are unhappy. But I've seen this before. And I'm not naive, and I know how you people think. Sorry, you may say, I'm done with Call of Duty, I'm going to Battlefield, it's fire, COD sucks now. Guess what you're going to do when Call of Duty comes out? You're going to go right back to Call of Duty, because this is what you guys always do. It is what it is. Until you prove me otherwise, it is what it is. So but like the Battlefield fans, they just want a good Battlefield. They don't care about COD. They're gonna get what they want from this, and they're gonna enjoy it. And so I really feel like when it's all said and done, Call of Duty is gonna sell great like it always is.
Yep.
And Battlefield's gonna do better than 2042 did, and it's gonna be really a great experience that people are gonna really enjoy. So there you have it. Cool. Anything else, man?
Nope, that's it.
All right, so the next topic here is opening night live Gamescom. That was yesterday.
Yes, yesterday. No.
Yeah, it had to be yesterday. That wasn't today. Or was it Tuesday?
Yeah, it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday because the actual Gamescom was yesterday. And today.
Yeah. It was it was Tuesday. Because I was trying to think, because I was like, I don't think I streamed with the Lords on Wednesday. So it was Tuesday.
Shout out to the Iron Lords. I caught a little bit of that as I was.
Yeah, I saw you in the chat
working and watching and stuff. But Forte, what were your thoughts about the show? Anything in particular that really caught your eye?
Well, Silk Song got a release. I mean, Silk Song. Oh, that's all I cared about once I saw Silk Song. But no, in general, it was I think the show, like, game-wise, was really, really good. I think there was a lot of good games showed there, even because I'm one of those people, even if the games aren't for me, I understand that, especially where gaming is now, gaming is so big that inherently, especially with these type of shows, you're gonna see more games that you don't care about than games you do care about. The only thing I think was probably the only downside to, like, well, first let's talk. The one thing that really irked me about the show, they did a promo for a show that they're already doing and they're talking about. When
Yeah,
they did
that was weird.
Like, what is this infomercial?
like-
I said, it's an infomercial of a show that we're already watching.
Yo, Jeff is just.
It's like, what are we
known for that,
doing?
man.
But that's, and then that's the type of stuff. And this is just a tangent, a little side tangent. This is the type of stuff that makes us like, what are you doing? Because the show was 2.5. I think it was a little bit longer than 2.5 hours long. And I'm sitting there like, this show doesn't need to be this long. It doesn't. But then you start adding up all these extra things like infomercials of shows that we're watching already and promote. And I understand promotional. And then, he had to throw the Game Awards in at the end. It was only like a 10 to 15 second thing, but he had to promote that at the end. But that just threw me off for a second. I was like, because I thought we were watching, like, literally, I thought we were watching a game. I'm watching the stream and I'm like, what game is this? Oh my God, what game is this? And we're up here guessing the game. And then all of a sudden it flips over to like people cheering. And I'm like, yo, what is, I said, bro, did you just throw an infomercial in the middle of your show? Whatever. But that was like the one, that's like the one thing that just to this day, it's like, if it's like, should we do it? Because if that's the one, like, I vividly remember that, and not for a good reason. I remember it because I was like, this is like weird. So outside of that, the rest of the show I think was really, really cool. It definitely had its down points, a lot of slowdowns and stuff in certain areas, which, like I said, is inherent to a show being 2.5+ hours long. But I think a lot of the games that they shown there were games that people really, really cared about. I really, really like they show, more Chronos, and that's a game that I'm super interested in. The Lego Batman game that's coming to the Switch too. I was like, dog, this is like a Lego game that I think a lot of people might play, because it was giving me like Arkham Knight and Arkham Origin type gameplay, but in Lego form. I think this is actually a really, really, pretty good game. I think they really, really showed out for a lot of stuff that was coming to the Switch. It was like a lot of games that was being announced that was coming over to the Switch. Indiana Jones. I think getting the DLC, a lot of people are going to be interested in that. With that coming back out, the new the Warhammer 40K Dawn of West, I forget what it's called, Dawn of something. That looks really, really cool. They had a lot of not tower defense, but a lot of RTSs and stuff is there, which are games that I really, really like. So I think the show in general, I think I gave it a 8.5 out of 10. Because I think overall the show itself was good for the things that they shown, but I just wish it wasn't as long as it was, and I just wish
all the Jeff shows are 5 hours long.
And that's the thing. It's like, it don't need to. I mean, it's like, is the show this long because you got to hit all of these marketing beats, or is it this long because you actually have this content? I mean, probably a little bit of A and B, but I mean, dude, we didn't need to be two for opening. Think about it. Opening night, not even like the whole show of Gamescom, just opening night live was 2.5 hours long. What are we? And that's without the pre-show. So it's really over 3 hours long. So that was the only thing that kind of like stuck with me, because I just feel like Jeff just does way too much. But I can't knock the fact that people are willing to trust him with trailers and all of the stuff that is being shown. And
he's kind of the only game in town right now.
That's
if you don't have
he is
like the marketing backing or the platform, the influence to do your own thing, like, you know, Xbox can do their own thing. Of course, they got the money, but they got so many studios and so many. They got like literally 3 different publishing platforms that they could just run their own show every year. And actually do multiple shows. They got the Dev Direct in January, then they got the June showcase in June, and then they sprinkle stuff at Gamescom and the Video Game Awards, throughout and you know, potentially Tokyo Game Show. You know, don't be surprised if you see something from Xbox there, you know, announced there. You know, you never know. And so this is kind of the stuff that they do. But like, if you're a smaller developer who doesn't have enough content to put on your own show, or, you know, even if you did do a live showcase of your new game, nobody's gonna watch it because no one knows who you are. Then, you know, you there's no longer an E3. You're either going to Xbox or you're going to Jeff. You know, and so I think that's why he's taking advantage of the failure of E3 to his own benefit. But I think that comes with his own drawbacks. You know, my bad, I cut you off. Were you done?
No, I'm done.
Okay, so I would say that, let me see here. The highlights I thought for the show. I'm not going to talk about everything, but I think Resident Evil Requiem looked good. For those who are into Resident Evil, I think they were probably really impressed with that. I'm not a Resident Evil guy for various reasons, mostly because I don't like play those kind of games. Ain't for me. But I think people who are into that are going to be excited. I thought Ghost of Yotai showed off the combat really well. I'm going to enjoy playing that when it comes out later this year. I thought Black Myth, Black Myth Young. I'm butchering this. Apologies in advance. Kyung Kui? Look, man, the Black Myth thing. Okay, I thought that looked interesting, even though you didn't see Wukong in it at all. And when I first saw it, I was like, all right, so this is like an expansion or some DLC off of Black Myth Wukong. But the fact that they said it's going to be a full-on sequel, I'm like, okay, so I don't expect to see this anytime soon as far as like the actual game coming out, because remember when Black Myth Wukong was first shown, it took some years for it to finally show up. And so and this is just way too soon. It's like a year after the last game released, and we understand how this works. Game development takes a while, so I don't expect to see that for a while, but I'm interested in it nonetheless. Now, Black Ops 7. Let me get on my soapbox for a second. I can't stand when people be like, Call of Duty is the same-ish every year. It don't never change. It don't never get better. And then they show something new and different, and then they go, what is this? This ain't Call of Duty. Ew, I don't like it. Nah, Call of Duty sucks. I'm like, what do y'all want? Y'all want the same old thing, or do you want something new? Because it just seems like they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. And I really kind of feel like right now, Activision with Call of Duty, to a lesser extent, is going through what 343 and dealt with Halo, where there was the old school Halo gamer that didn't want anything to change, didn't even want sprint in the game. And then there was the newer gamer that wanted Halo to be different, more modern, more for, you know, the current audience. And I think looking back at it all, 343 should have just made their own Halo. Forget all the noise, forget what people gotta say, make the Halo you want to make. And just, if people don't like it, cool, play something else. If you love it, great. But that's essentially what I think Activision needs to do with Call of Duty now, because they just can't satisfy two different, completely separate opinions on what needs to happen with the game. I get the whole like the goofy cosmetics. Having Beavis and Butthead in Call of Duty just looks dumb. It just looks stupid. It is horrible looking, and it doesn't mesh well when you're gunning down Butthead in Warzone. I got shout out to Mooch. I've seen his gameplay, and I'm just like shaking my head looking at him shoot up Butthead, and he stands out on the map. I'm like, why would you even choose that skin? You stick out like a sore thumb in a shooter game. It's ridiculous to me. But they just, I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't do cosmetics. They absolutely should, because that's how you make money. But they need to do cosmetics that fit, that work. They're a bit more grounded. Like when they did the Lara Croft in Modern Warfare 2, they brought Lara Croft in. Now the face didn't look nothing like Lara Croft. You only knew it was her because she had on the cargo shorts and the tank top and the dual pistols. But she's from a game where she shoots people. Here's a game where you shoot people. That's a good collaboration. I've been saying for a while they need to put Master Chief in there. They need to put Marcus Phoenix in there. Put people who shoot people in a game about shooting people. Just seems to make sense to me. When they worked with like Squid Game, I had no problem with that. When they did a collaboration with Dune and put Paul Atreides in the game, had no problem with that. It's a movie. It's like that came from a novel about people dying all the time, and I'm not gonna get into all the details, but I read the book 5 million times, so I know. But like, that works. But when you got freaking Bob's Burger in Call of Duty, no. When you got Homer Simpson in Call of, get the freak out of here with this. That's not going to work. You know, like that's not going to. So I get that, and I agree with that criticism, but like, people complaining about the isometric view in Zombies, really? People complaining about the movement again, really? Like, they're the ones making the game. If you, and I'm not saying you are allowed to express your opinion, but like, it just seems like everyone thinks that this game is supposed to be for them. And not that like there are millions, tens of millions of gamers that play this game. And a vast majority of them, this is one of the top 3 sold games every year. And the vast majority of them like COD just the way it is. So if you don't like it, I mean, you're just gonna have to deal with it or find another game to play. Okay, off my soapbox. Sekiro anime. I'm watching that. I ain't even played the game. Maybe I'll finally get into Sekiro.
You should play
that
anime.
The
game is good.
That anime look. I should stream it too. I should stream myself playing Sekiro. But like that anime look dope. So I'm in for that. I have never played a Lego Batman game, but that Lego Batman
look good, bro.
Yo, that combat. I was like,
it looked so good.
I might have to play Lego Batman for the first time ever. Okay, criticisms.
Go.
That Monster Hunter Wilds Final Fantasy 14
the crossover
kind of pissed me off. One, it pissed me off because I couldn't tell the way they kept like cutting things. I couldn't tell what was Monster Hunter. Like, I know the art style of 14, so I knew when it was 14. But I was sitting in a Discord with some other people who were watching it, and they were arguing over what was actually Final Fantasy 14 and what was Monster Hunter Wild. So it's just like, I feel like they kind of like they didn't do a good job editing their footage to kind of show it off, and I think they just kind of just confused everyone instead of actually promoting that really well. And as far as some other games that I really thought were interesting, Zero Paradise, which is from the original Disco Elysium devs. I thought that looked interesting. And the demo that I played, that I showed before, Void Breakers. Void, oh my gosh, I played it and I can't remember. Void something. Void Breakers is okay. But I think Toxic Commandos, I thought that looked good because it gave me some Left 4 Dead vibes with it. And hopefully if they nail that, I'm down with it because I love me some Left 4 Dead. I still play it every now and then with some of the homies. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on it. Anything else you want to talk about the show?
No, man, just make that show shorter and we be all good.
Man, whatever.
They ain't gonna happen.
You know the Video Game Awards about to be 5 hours, right?
That's about how long it was last time. It was long as hell. I remember. Yeah, right. You got me all. Now I'm not even. It's so long. It was just so long, just to be long.
Right. Okay. So last topic of the night, and we can get out of here. The Xbox Ally was shown off, and a lot of people who were there at Gamescom got to have hands-on experience with it. The Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X. They have the release date. The release date is crap. Where is that? I just had that, and we talked about it already. It was. Hold on. Let me find the damn.
No more than lost.
Yeah. But the price. Talk about the pricing real quick. The standard Xbox ROG Ally is $549. And the Xbox ROG Ally X is $899. So the initial reporting is that the standard was going to be $599. It turned out to be $50 cheaper. I don't know if they saw some of the reaction to the pricing and decided to make it cheaper, or if the reporting was just wrong or outdated. But it is what it is. And I actually saw some people say that the standard perform pretty well when they play. Some of the games they play, I think, just always play well. Like Forza Horizon plays great, pretty much I feel like on everything. And I've seen people try out the xCloud with Forza and say, "Oh, this plays awesome," and I'm like, "Okay." xCloud at the time was awful, but I don't have Ando's experience, so I can't really say whether it's great or not. But there is that October 16th is the release date for this, and I don't think they've put up pre-orders yet, but I have seen placeholders for the both devices at Best Buy and other places already. So I assume pre-orders will be coming up pretty soon. And let's see, anything else? No, that's it. Forte, your thoughts on the Xbox ROG Ally?
The market is going to decide if this is a good idea for Microsoft. Most likely I will end up with one. I just don't know if it'll be day one. There's a lot of competition out there for it. The thing is, I think the price point is kind of what it needs to be, but on top of that, I know that there's, I was talking to Solve, and there's even better hardware right around the corner that's coming out very soon that is more powerful than this at either close to the same price, if not $100 to $150 more. And it to me, it really lines up to that point of, what is the real reason you're buying? Are you buying it because it's an Xbox? It's part of the Xbox ecosystem, or are you buying it because you want to have a very, very powerful portable PC that you can use to get the best out of the experience of the games when you're not at your home PC or on your console in general? That's a huge distinction on why people are going to buy this. Because I feel like I feel like this is more geared towards the console gamer, but the unfortunate thing is your whole library isn't there. It's only like you can only stream certain games
you can
because
stream console games but play PC games natively.
but not even all the console games, because some of the games have to be okay through the EULA of whatever developer or publisher made that game. So not even all of the games that are on the Xbox inside of the streaming app can be streamed. So it's like this no man's land when it comes to like who it's really for. I think it's for Xbox gamers to like ingratiate themselves into a ecosystem of PC, because I think in the biggest thing I think this is meant to do is convert Xbox gamers into a ecosystem where it's not so afraid to be in a PC marketplace, because that's where they want their gamers to go for the most part.
Because Xbox is done with the traditional console.
It's done with the traditional console. So they're looking at this. Yeah, they're looking at this like, let's move our people over to, the people that's already on console. If they're on a PlayStation, we're not trying to force those people to go anywhere else. We're just going to give them games where they're at. PC gamers that are on Xbox, let's give them an Xbox experience in a PC mobile platform that is pretty much a PC, and show them that it's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to like playing your games in this type of ecosystem. And I think this is all of a launch up into, the integration of Windows 11 when everybody has to move over, because, Windows, it's going to be a forced update on people. And then I think that's going to be the test bed for Windows 12 when they finally come out with it, where all the unified integration is going to take place, and they're going to be able to like literally bend gaming into their server blade, where it's going to make it so people just have this ubiquitous experience where, not saying they're going to do dual boot or anything, but when you're playing games, just like your phone has a game mode on it, when you launch a game on Windows 12, it actually disables a lot of the Windows features to like use a lot of the processing that your games would be using. And that would be a benefit of playing inside of the Xbox ecosystem on PC. But they got to get people over there first. So I think that's the main direction of this, because when it comes to people that already have powerful handhelds like a Steam Deck, or some of these newer like the Go or stuff like that, and new iterations that's coming out in the future, this thing is about to be super outpaced very, very fast. So that's kind of where I look at it, but I think it's good. I definitely am going to pick up one, because I definitely like the fact that you're going to have an integrated experience just for Xbox on it. But if you already have something that is comparable to this, the only thing you're missing out of is just the native experience of being able to like load it to Game Pass and access those games natively, versus having to go through like an app like you have to do before on the last ROG that they came out with, but which still had a really good experience when it came to loading Game Pass. But this version is going to have it literally built into the system. It ain't going to just be like a storefront that you do it through, which I think it's going to be very beneficial to just how cleaner and more efficient the games are going to run, since they don't have that underlining kernel that's going to kind of not hold it back, but kind of be this processing that doesn't need to be there due to the fact that it's integrated already into the interface.
Yeah. So in the chat, there's a very interesting discussion about what kind of strategy this is, and some people believe that this is a console exit strategy.
Oh yeah, that's what I think
by Microsoft. So you agree as well? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like I said, they're trying to convince people to move in because look, there's a reason they jumped out first and said we're going to raise our prices by $100 in May. You don't do stuff like that 3 to 4 months ahead of that thing happening unless you have a deeper plan in place where it's like, do we really care if you play or buy on an Xbox? We just care if you're in the ecosystem. So it's twofold. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Just kind of it's so weird trying to like define what Xbox really wants out of their ecosystem, because part of me still feels like the ecosystem is still tied to what the console is, because that's how you get people in your ecosystem. But they're trying to brute force and tell people that, well, no, you don't have to be on our platform to be a part of our ecosystem. Everything's an Xbox. Remember, your PlayStation, once you buy a game over there and you play an Xbox game like Gears Reloaded, that means you're basically playing on an Xbox. Well, I mean, that's not the case. Or when you play on a PC, you're playing under an Xbox infrastructure. If you're playing in Steam, you're still, getting achievements and everything. You're still logging into an Xbox server ID. I get what they're saying, but the experience of getting people to build your platform is still on console. That hasn't changed yet. You can see Nintendo for that. And everybody, and it's the thing, nobody's Nintendo. PlayStation's not even Nintendo. Nintendo's the only company I feel like can survive this whole we want our games everywhere narrative, because they will never put their games anywhere else, because they just won't. They won't even put skins on another platform to be played with on other platforms. So they kind of put
it's counter to their philosophy.
To their philosophy.
And the people who think Nintendo will eventually switch from that are the same people that think that anything that Microsoft does means there's an automatically industry change that everyone's going to do it. And that's just not reality. Microsoft choosing to do something doesn't mean that everyone's going to do it. You may see some aspects of things that Microsoft does that other platforms may choose to do because it's a great idea. But simply because Microsoft did it, that means, someone else is going to do it too. Sony's going to do it. Nintendo's going to do it. That's a fallacy. That's not accurate. If that was the case, then Nintendo would have a subscription service where freaking Mario Kart World is available in a day and date, and Sony would have Ghost of Yotei launching day and date in PSN Plus. These things are not happening because not everything that Microsoft does is gold. Not everything that Microsoft does is, it's the future of gaming. No, that's fanboy nonsense. It's not the future of gaming. It's the future of their platform. Period.
Yeah.
Like people need to grow up with that. Let me say about this. So my thoughts about the Xbox Ally, and I do think that, considering there's a PC handheld and how much PC handhelds cost on general, that the pricing for it is in line with what PC handhelds are. So it's not overpriced, but that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. What is considered to be overpriced is more of perception. What value is subjective. It could be a good product. It could be something that people would say, I wouldn't mind having that. But would I mind having it at that price? That's different. And so when I say that, I think about, who is this device for? Mm-hmm. Is this device for Xbox gamers who are console gamers to kind of ease them into the PC environment? Is this device for people who enjoy the Nintendo Switch experience but they want to play games that the Switch doesn't have? Is this a device for PC gamers to have as like a side accessory? Or is this a device for people who actually are a part of a very small demographic that primarily play their games through PC handhelds?
Good question.
I don't think anyone has the answer to that yet. I think Microsoft knows what demographic they're targeting with this, but whether they actually nail it or not, I think is a different. Well, I mean, that remains to be seen. I kind of look at, and I think the getting console gamers to spend $900 on the Xbox Ally X is not happening. You're gonna get the enthusiasts that will buy multiple handhelds that will buy that device. But for the big draw here is the standard Xbox Ally at $550, American. And to that degree, I look at this as the majority of the demographics I mentioned would view this device as an accessory. It's not how they play their games primarily. The Nintendo gamer will look at it as an accessory because they play primarily on a Nintendo Switch because it has Nintendo games, and this device natively won't have that. The console gamer, whether they be PlayStation or Xbox console gamers, will look at it as an accessory because it's not power-wise, it's not even the Xbox Series S. So if you are an Xbox Series X or PS5 gamer, this isn't, you could dock it and have it play on your TV. You may not like the way that looks. When you have to start figuring out as console gamers what TDP means, what power consumption's about on consoles and how to manage that, then you gotta realize that this isn't quite the kind of console experience that you're used to. And so this is kind of like in an accessory range for you that, as of now, because there isn't an Xbox to put under your TV that has access to Steam and Epic Games Store, that this is a way that you could play PC games without actually owning or building or buying a pre-built PC. But that's secondary gaming to a console gamer. For the PC gamers that have a big beefy rig like you and I, that is a secondary accessory to be able to, hey, I'm playing Dark Deity 2 or Trails of Cold Steel on Steam, and then I can I have it installed on my Steam Deck. Let me go, I walk out the house, I'm at the doctor's office waiting for a checkup or something, and I pull out the Steam Deck and I'm playing, I continue on my game. That's an accessory. And when it comes to accessories, the Steam Deck is the most successful PC handheld, and you can get one for under $300. And the ones that are being sold by Valve are like $300. They're cheaper. Someone can look at a secondary gaming device and accessory and say, all right, yeah, I can make that jump. Sony sold the PSVR 1. And how much was that, Forte, at launch? Forte? Did I lose Forte?
No, I was muted. No, the PSVR 1 was more than it was the same price as the system.
Yeah, but what was the cost of it?
Like how much it was when it released?
Yeah.
Oh, $400.
$400.
Yeah, so $400. It was the same, literally the same price as the PS4.
Right. So that's in the, I would say, still an acceptable range to try an accessory. But how much was that PSVR 2?
More than the console. $549 when it came out. $549 for the one without the game. $599 for the one that came with Horizon Call of the Mountain. I was like, yo, y'all wowing.
And that didn't sell great.
No, it didn't.
Support for that has completely died. And so I think we can look at least for the addressable market, where how much people are willing to spend for an accessory. Like the PS Portal, as limited as that device is, sells great, and it's $200.
It's $200,
and I think that's somewhat overpriced considering what it does, but that's fine. It's $200.
If you can use it if you can use that thing as a regular controller, $200 would be well worth it, but you can't.
But when you're talking $550 for a device that is more expensive than an Xbox Series S, but the only thing it really does better than the Xbox Series S is it's portable, I don't think that's much of a draw for the addressable market. Clearly, you know, that's subjective. There are going to be people that are like, I'll spend $1,200 for a PC handheld. And they've shipped them from China with all kinds of malware all over it, and they don't care. But, you know, those are a very, very small minority. The majority of gamers, the people who are going to buy this device, I don't think are going to fall for that. And as of now, Asus, who made the previous ROG Ally and ROG Ally X, they haven't sold 1 million copies yet of the Asus ROG Ally. Now, that doesn't have Xbox branding, and I know some people feel like that will, with Xbox branding and marketing, will really push the device far above the ROG Ally. And I think eventually, yeah, absolutely, it'll outsell that. But in a short period of time, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure that the price where it is right now is low enough to get people to give it a shot. Because I do think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that they're targeting Xbox console gamers with this. And even though they do have an actual under, you know, on your entertainment center beside your TV PC small form factor Xbox coming, that they want people who are Xbox console gamers to jump in on this experience. And I just don't think that they're going to find the value in that. No matter how well made it is, no matter how much quality it is, I don't think they're going to find the value in that for that price. So
I agree.
My thoughts on it. One last thing before we finish up. The Asus is making an official controller for the Xbox ROG Ally. It is called the Asus ROG Rikiri 2. There was a Rikiri 1. It was priced at $150 at launch, and it was a piece of garbage, just straight up and down. It was a terrible controller. It had horrible tuning. The thumbsticks were really had a lot of bad dead zones, really inaccurate. In every review, they just kill it. It's an overpriced bad controller. That doesn't mean that a Rikiri 2 is a bad controller, because even though I go after Razer all the time for making trash, and even though the software for this controller is still trash, but the Razer Wolverine 3 is a really good controller and a massive step up over the Wolverine 1 and the Wolverine 2. So there's always room for improvement. But this Rikiri 2 is supposed to have TMR thumbsticks and triggers. And for those who are wondering what that means, TMR is the very best you can get as far as durability and stability with your thumbsticks, that they don't wear out and lose their level of like accuracy with things. TMR is like Hall effect, where it will take a very, very, very long time for you to develop stick drift with the thumbsticks, but they have less power consumption with the Hall effect than Hall effect sticks with TMR, so that they're better in that regard. That doesn't mean they're more accurate. That comes to a whole different thing. So the hierarchy is TMR, then the Hall effect, then I think a pedometer. I think is the way they say it. That's the kind of thumbstick you get on your Xbox Series controller, on your DualSense controllers. Those are accurate, very accurate, straight out the box. But that accuracy starts to degrade over time the more you use them, because they will wear out, and the mechanisms that kind of keep it centered in at zero can't stay there over time, and you'll start to see, hey, look, it's drifting. You see that with, the Joy-Cons for the Switch 1. So just because it has TMR joysticks doesn't mean it's going to be like that they're tuned well. That comes with testing once it finally comes out. It's supporting claiming that it's going to have 1,000 hertz polling rate. That remains to be seen until it gets tested, but it's good that they're targeting that. Again, for those who don't understand, like your polling rate is really, really important for responsiveness. And as a comparison, some of the other really good third-party controllers you may hear about, like the 8-Bit Do Ultimate 2, I tested that one at 900 hertz polling. My Gillakit King Kong 3 Max does 500. My GameSir Cyclone 2 does 1,000. The G7 Pro GameSir that I'm supposed to be getting this weekend, who knows? It's supposed to do 1,000. I'll test it. But like your DualSense only does 250. Your Xbox Series controller only does 125. So that's the level of performance that you're supposed to get from this. It's going to have 4 fully programmable rear buttons and on the back of the controller for those who love your back buttons like myself, or back paddles, and micro switch buttons. So we'll see how much it actually costs. They haven't announced the price. I'm expecting it to be more than the 150 than that the Rikiri 1 launched at, but we'll see. Forte, are you picking this controller up?
I was looking into it. It just really depends on, have they put a price out on it yet?
No, I literally just said that. You don't be listening to me, man.
No. I heard you. I didn't hear you say
they haven't. They showed it off and they showed what the specs were. They didn't show a price yet.
I need to see that price first.
I don't know if they have a release date yet either. Let me see if that is. No, there's no release date yet as well. But I'm gonna assume because it's supposed to be the first Xbox certified a wireless controller for the ROG Xbox Ally, that is coming out at least sometime around that time frame. Like it's gotta be come out like when close to its release date, maybe a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit after, but somewhere around there.
Yeah, it just really depends on the price. And my only thing about, because even though I use my Elite controller and I use my Edge controller plugged up on my PC, I just like the option of having a wired controller and a wireless controller, I should say. So that kind of is the one thing that stops me from always just going and just getting a controller that, I know just plugs in and works. Because there are benefits. I used to do it with the Razer ones all the time, but then you just pay for the Razer name, and those things are kind of trash. But But
the Wolverine 3 is pretty good. They actually just came out with another Wolverine that I heard is, I haven't seen the videos on it, so don't quote me on this, but I heard it's supposed to be the fastest controller in the world. But I've heard that a few times from.
I heard that from Turtle Beach.
Right, I would never buy Turtle Beach anything.
I heard that from Turtle Beach terrible. When they said it about their new controller, fastest controller in the world.
Turtle Beach and Scuff, overpriced garbage. Don't buy them. Just don't buy them at all. Overpriced, poorly, like dead zones, terrible, like just not good performance. Don't buy them. I think I know someone that recently asked me about a Turtle Beach controller, and it was like $300. And when I looked up the controller, I was like, "Oh hell no! Don't get this. You could get a controller that's like less than 100 that outperforms this completely, top down. There's like 8-Bit Do or GameSir. Yeah, I pick a controller from either of those camps, and they're better than that. There's $30 GameSir controllers that outperform that Turtle Beach. That's $300. You just gotta take a look at what's out there. Do a little research on what some of these specs actually mean. Because remember when people started to kind of pay attention to what to hertz when it comes to TVs and how important that was. Yeah. And then the TV manufacturers started to notice that people were wondering, well, what's the hertz of this TV? And so they were looking at their 60 hertz panels and going, hey, look, we're going to call our 60 hertz panel, our marketing term for it is True Motion 120.
120.
Now, why did they add the 120 in there? Because people were out there looking for 120 hertz TVs, and they knew they could fool someone into buying this 60 hertz TV thinking it's 120 hertz, and they could get away with it legally because True Motion 120 doesn't mean anything. It's a dummy term. It means nothing. It's just a marketing term they created so that you would be tricked into thinking, seeing the 120, not paying attention and thinking it's the 120 hertz refresh rate. And it's not. And so this is when you have companies that do things like that. There's no wonder that they will market features and talk them up like that Turtle Beach controller I'm talking about. It had like a Turtle Beach's own marketing term for its thumbsticks. They were just predominant thumbsticks. They weren't even Hall effect. And it's just like, why are you making all this big deal about it? Just say it's Hall effect or not. You can't say that because it's not Hall effect. All right, it's not Hall effect. Just say that because they know that if it's not Hall effect at this point, people are just not really down for fake premium controllers that don't actually have real features. That controller, Turtle Beach controller, and now when I say this, people probably gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. It had an OLED screen on it, Forte.
I know.
Why? What do I need? I'm not looking at controller while I'm playing the game. Why do I need a screen on the controller?
Giving me my battery life and not the functionality.
It's just crazy. So like I'm just trying to warn everyone to kind of like pay attention to these things and not get caught up with like marketing terms. They trick you into thinking it's like really quality just because it's expensive, and they got RGB all over the place. It's like you turn your lights off, your controller can light up your entire room. That doesn't mean it's good. Like, forget all the fluff. How does it perform? Because I don't want to be playing a game and I'm trying to parry a boss, and then in the controller doesn't respond when I hit the parry button. All the flash and RGB in the world ain't gonna stop me from being pissed off about it. So, anything else you want to say before we get up out of here, man?
No, man, that's it, man. Killed it.
Cool. So, Forte, where can the good people find you, sir? What
they
you got
can
going
find
on for the rest of the week.
Oh man, well, let's see. Rest of this week. Well, tomorrow's Friday, so work. Saturday, more work. Sunday, God forsaken having to dress up as a freaking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing! I can't wait.
Lord Jesus Christ, not looking forward to that. But yeah, and I got a nice little Slimer companion to go with him. So shout out to you, Solve. But yeah, so that's gonna be interesting weekend. And then I think I am probably gonna play some more Triangle Strategy, get a little bit further in Donkey Kong, because once Silk Song comes out in 2 weeks, I'm kind of just gonna jump into that game and just be only playing that game. And yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, we're gonna stream some Death Stranding next week.
Let's go. We got the thumbnail on deck already.
I just thought, I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, I don't want SloMo's thumbnail to go to waste, so we're gonna do a third stream of Death Stranding, and that's gonna be. I am off Tuesday, Thursday next week, so it most likely be on Tuesday because I don't have anything going on that day. So it'll probably be at some point during the day on Tuesday early.
Cool. Real quick before I do my outro, something that Forza, have you watched Alien Earth yet?
Yes. I didn't watch episode 1, 2, and I didn't watch episode 1, 2, and 3 5 times already. Bro.
Dude, I've watched them twice.
Bro, listen.
Yo, it's good, yo.
Yo, I was sitting there
really
like,
good.
I was like, Ridley Scott is probably ecstatic about this show. Like, it is like the perfect meld of humans, synthetics, and alien. It's like perfect. Like
I like how they have like really expanded on what the lore with, like, we knew there were synthetics, we knew that there were cyborgs, right? But but now we got like a like hybrid of them, and what does that really mean in the alien universe? Like, how powerful are they? Like, does this change what, you know, if humans are actual prey, you know, to these things, and are they really human or not? I think a lot of that stuff is being explored. I know some people have been critical of the acting. I don't know why. I think the acting is fantastic. What's his name? Timothy Olyphant or whatever his name is. Like, yeah, he's in it. He's good. I think the main girl, the new Ripley, I think she's really good. I've seen a lot of like actors I see in other things, and it's great. Now, I do agree with Gregor in the chat. The alien itself, there's something about its design. And I don't know if it seems like budget was not a question whatsoever in this, because it doesn't feel like a TV show. Each episode feels like a feature film. A feature film, so,
55 minutes long.
Right. So it's like, it's great, but that alien, it seems weird. So like, I'll say it like this real quick.
It seems
doesn't
too
feel like
CGI.
the alien is like. Maybe that's it. I said it feels like the alien feels too clean. You know, like I don't see enough of like the saliva coming out of his mouth.
So I'm gonna tell you why. I feel this. I'm with you. And I think that's where the cost cutting happened at. Because if you just think about Alien in general, like all the movies and stuff, and even if you go back to the ABP movies and stuff, everything was done practically with the aliens, with the exception of certain parts of Alien 3, because that was the first time you learned that the alien basically took on the characteristics of its host. And in that one, it impregnated a dog, a Rottweiler. So that's why the alien ran on all fours inside of Alien 3. So they couldn't really do practical with that because it was all about speed and agility. And the only time that they showed practical shots of the alien in Alien 3 is when it was like really close-up shots, like the one where she was sitting in the infirmary and it walked right up to her and it saw that she was impregnated with a queen, and then it let her, it just took the body and ran away. Those were like the shots where you got a chance to see like the goo, the gore, like all the different like ripples inside of his skin, like the translucent layer that it had, because they really, really spruced up and made the alien in a practical sense in those really close shots look really, really authentic. In this, it seems like they went heavy CGI with the alien, but on top of that, when they do those practical shots, like you said, you don't see all the extra gore and all the extra like little fine tooth details that they made when they, you know, did this one. Because like if you go to like the first episode, when you see the alien for the first time, it looked way too clean. Like way too clean. And I agree with that. But I think that's where they decided to make the cut, because they felt like we don't want to have this. And like I said, I'm just thinking on top of my head. Part of me feels like if they can't do it consistently all the time, then they want it to look one particular way. So if they go out and they gore it up and give it all the goo and everything, they have to consistently keep that up through the whole show.
You're right.
And I think that's where they decided, like, we think the essence of the
they
alien.
made some concessions. They made some shortcuts so that they could afford it. You think?
So they can afford it under the budget they wanted. Now, if I had to sit there and look at it and say that's like, because I'm with you, that's the one thing that like throws me off a little bit is with the alien. But everything else about the show is freaking incredible. So I'll take the concession
we're really
of what they did with the alien
at this point, right? Yeah, like, we're really kind of nitpicking at this point. Like I think the show is fantastic. I'm so glad they did this because it's like it's really so good.
It's really good. And I think it's only like 7 or 8 episodes too, because I think it ends in October. Like the first week of October. So we got like another 5 or 6 episodes before it's over. But
I think part of what I really enjoy about it is this new corporation Prodigy and what they kind of like, you know, what they mean to the overall lore of the alien universe and how they fit in. Like the child genius that runs it, you know, and his hubris and his ego, and he thinking that
the thing that he said when he was talking to the lady.
Let's not get into spoilers. I think.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like when he talked about.
And Gregory, the Peter Pan stuff is cool. I like the how they incorporate that, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, I do too.
Go ahead, Forte. Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying, there's just little things like you said. I think the overall story building, the character development that they did with all these different characters. And I think the reason people think the acting is off is because if you're looking at just the humans talk, it seems like the acting is on point. Like when you see Prodigy, when he's talking to the lead doctor, I forget her name, but when she's talking to her, their conversations seem human. It seems like really good. But then when you go and look at the synthetics, it's like it's done the way it's done because of who they are. Like the lead actress,
not human. They don't really experience human emotion. So like they're acting like that on purpose. And I think some people just don't like understand that the acting isn't bad. They're supposed to not show emotion, you know, and the kids who are in grown bodies, you know, are acting like I love that part. I'm laughing my butt off at some of the
when they
dialogue.
When they run into
you know,
when they run into my man, and my man was like, "How old are you?" He's like,
I was dying. That entire scene cracked me up.
He's looking at him like, "How old are you?" And then he was like, "We can't talk about it."
Yeah, he was elbowing his boy.
He's like, she said, "Shut up! We can't talk
about it." That's classified. I was cracking up. But
good.
You kind of see where that's going, and I kind of feel like, to not like get into like major spoiler territory, I can kind of see some of the same. And I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but I kind of feel like it will. Like it's some of the same issues we've seen in prior. Not necessarily issues. How can I describe this? The characters, corporations doing what corporations do.
The same tropes that always pop up.
Yeah, they think they can control things that they can't, and they go through all these measures to make sure that they can try to exploit a bioweapon, essentially, which is what the aliens are. They're a bioweapon. That's what the xenomorph is. It was developed and designed to murder us, and they think they're always trying to control it, and we get to the eventual conclusion of how that turns out, right? But it's just seeing how it's getting there with like what the way the characters are putting their plans together and what's happening. It's still, even despite the fact that you know what's going to happen, it still doesn't make it seem boring or stale or like, riveting. I know where this is going.
It is very you're riveting. Right. It's very riveting to see, like you just said, it's so riveting to see. I know exactly where this is going. Like the fact that he, you know, not even going into the spoiler, but you know, he walks into the room and then certain things react to him, and then he pushes him out the room. It's like, no, don't. He said, no, don't come in here. And it's like you starting to see, like, okay, and then instead of it just being more of a like okay, fail safe thing, it's like, oh, more curiosity. And I'm like, bro, these things are here to kill you, and you get it. And they do a really good job in showing what it takes to actually fight one of these things, and you know, in the fight that happens in the third one, and it doesn't work out for anybody in that. It was kind of crazy how that sequence happened and everything, and I'm like, bro, they're doing a lot of good story building. They're recasing over things that people wondered what was actually the purpose of things, and there's things that still are happening that we're like, what is the meaning of this? And that is the things that I'm looking forward to. Like when I finished watching episode 3 and saw the end of it, I was like, bro, this is about to get wild in the next episode.
Look, if you ever watched Alien or Aliens, or you're a fan of the movies, check the show out.
Yeah, check the show out.
Definitely check the show out, because it's pretty awesome. For myself, on my outro, I'm going to get back into Borderlands soon, and I'll be streaming that. I'm at the end of Borderlands 1. I know I've said this 3 times. I mean it, okay? I mean it this time. I mean it. So I'm gonna get into that, and other than that, you know, see you guys next week, next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
No,
as
I'm
usual.
glad you said that. Next Thursday, we need to go. I'll talk to you after this.
Okay. All right. We're getting out of here. Stop with the cap stuff, Gregor. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and enjoy your games, man. Peace.
Peace.